White. Wide open Torrence! Oh, baby! Touchdown! How do you leave the best receiver in the NAIA that wide open?
You show, and that's what we do! Cash!
You're proud of me?
And it's caught! Oh my goodness! Troy Torrence comes down with it!
Welcome all to Bankroll Blitz right here on Pub Sports Radio. Week 14 is awaiting our breakdowns. I'm joined alongside, as always, my co-host here on Bankroll Blitz, continuing to deliver the goods. It was a hell of a roller coaster. You had a wild roller coaster, man. What a week you had, man. Not for the faint of heart, but perfect. Not perfect, but par for the course as gamblers. Troy, how are you, my friend?
Man, today was a stressful day. I'm ready to get to it, man. It's time to hit each handicap, break it down, isolate it, analyze it, and then hammer it. Let's get to it.
I'm excited. Shout out to all the cappers joining us. Means a ton to us. Your support means so much. Nuke Worker, Fireside. We got Omer Gaudet coming to us from France. Londo in the house. Storage Club. Aaron Gaza. Kent Davies. Peanut. Curtis Berry. It is great to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining us. Let's discuss the week that was. Mine was much more. Well, I was in a pretty tough spot after the first two games on Thanksgiving. Like, I was already behind the eight ball. And then I got hot. I put myself in a pretty strong situation. There was a lot of unders, that cashed. And I put myself in a nice situation. And then we were on opposite sides on Monday night. And I lost and you won. So it's 4 times we've been on opposite sides. You are 3-1 in those spots. I was uncomfortable with it. But regardless of what I was seeing in the Monday Nighter, as you were on the over and I was on the under, I believed in the script that I had created. So I did bet the under 50.5 and the under 53.5 and the under 57.5, which helped. It helped bring it back. But this was the week that was for me. Now, this is in order of how I bet it. It's always going to be in order. So it's not chronological. It's just how I bet it. So Cleveland +6 was a loser. San Francisco, Cleveland, first half under 20.5 and under 40 cash. 5 points of value on that San Francisco, Cleveland full game that closed at 35. Chicago, Philadelphia, first half under 22.5, full game under 44.5 cash. Eagles, double result, loser. Titans +6.5, loser. Jacksonville, Tennessee, first half under 20.5. I mean, that penalty to give the Jaguars the opportunity for the field goal was extremely aggravating. I had to, take a quick walk and brush that off. But for you, I know you'll talk about
the penalty to give him instead of the extra point, the 2-point conversion.
Oh,
and the roughing the kicker penalty that turned into a touchdown later in that game.
Well, it hurt us both. It ended up hurting you worse. And you had the Jags under 24.5 and under 24 for them to land on 25 points. It was tough. I did cash that full game under. I lost the Colts double result. I lost the Colts double result, but cashed the first half under and the full game under. Cashed Atlanta New York Jets first half under. Lost the full game under. Then I lost the 2 first half under, full game under on the Giants Patriots. Lost Detroit -2.5, Kansas City -3. Cashed Cincinnati Baltimore first half under, full game under. Cash the Saints +6, the Commanders +6. Cash Buffalo, Pittsburgh first half under and full game under. Lost the Ravens double result. When the line moved against me in Cincinnati Baltimore, I hammered it again. So that's at 52.5. I mean, we've just seen overs all day long, and now we were going outside in a divisional game. I should have just hammered it so hard, but when you're down after the first couple games, you fear that you're kind of reaching. And then I lost my lone addition, the Steelers +3.5 -120. I lost that badly. So I went 15-12 plus 1.38 units. Troy, Torrence, go over your action for the week that was.
Yeah, so I started off Thursday really good. My biggest bet of the week was the Packers. Packers +3 winner. Packers money line was a winner. Packers +9. Chiefs 3.5 teaser was a winner. Lions team total under 26.5 was winner. and Christian Watson over 51.5. So I hammered that Packers game, and everything came to fruition. I had the Chiefs -3 was a loser. Then I tweaked out. I was on the Bengals +7 for plenty of reasons. Now, there's reasons why I ended up hedging with Ravens double result, which was a loser, and Lamar Jackson under 237.5 passing yards went over on the last pass of the game. But I cashed the Bengals +7, and then I tripled up on the Eagles with a player prop, took the Eagles double result, and I had the Eagles in a teaser, lost all those badly. Can't wait to talk about Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears. I had the Colts double result, the Colts money line and the Lions team total under parlay. Both of those bets lost, and at the end of the day, and I was talking about this on Sunday, that if that market closed at 3, I knew I was in trouble. It closed at 3. I moved down the under and got the cash there. Panthers versus Rams first half over 22.5 was an easy winner. The Jaguars team total under, we just talked about that. I mean, noise canceled score was 19-9. They definitely didn't deserve 25 points. Should have been a winner. I had the Jets Falcons under 40. That lost. I had Bucky Irving over 40.5 rushing yards. That was a winner. Then I had the Browns first half 3.5, and then I tripled up on the Browns. Bucky Irving over 40. Whoa. My phone's listening to me and beating me. Then I had Browns 6.5 +6 and the money line. All 3 of those bets lost, and I felt extremely slighted because the Browns absolutely dominated that game. Sam Darnold under 230.5 passing yards. Betting quarterbacks that are facing the Vikings team under their passing prop is a very profitable venture. Bills, I absolutely hammered this spot. This is the market I talk about so frequently, and they absolutely destroyed the Steelers. Bills -3, Bills money line with Cook 60+ rushing yards and the under 45.5. Then I finished up with Commanders first half +3.5, lost somehow. Commanders +6 was a winner, and then the double up on the over first half full game in the Monday Night Football game. So barely squeaked out a winning week.
But you did get there. 18-16 plus 0.47 units. My favorite bet of yours was Darnold under passing yards. Of course. There's no need to risk anything. Of course. Now, you can't bet as much, obviously, on props as sometimes you would like to, and you'll get limited very quickly. But that was just, come on.
Right.
I wish I'd known about when I was going over here. I was like, oh, God, this is. Now, it's my fault. I'm in the Discord with you. I should be able to see that, but that was absolutely beautiful, that one. All right, thank you guys for joining us. So, again, we've talked about it throughout the year that these weeks that we've had here, it felt like a losing week, and that's the difference in our season here. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself. A losing week could be right around the corner. But we are now up 87.85 units on single unit action here, and the climb to 100 begins again right now. So let's get after it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Let's roll. Lucky says pen and paper ready. Let's go, guys. Also, if anybody wants the video, did I not put it in the video description? Jeez, I might not have done that. You know what? I might have to do that during the show. I might have forgotten. A little overwhelmed here. Did I? Let me just check quick right now because it's very helpful. I always think for. No, I haven't. So I'll get this in the description. I apologize for that. That's usually something that it's something I pride myself on doing. So I apologize for that. All right, let's roll. We start on Thursday, December 4th, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Dallas Cowboys 6-5-1, 2-4 on the road at the Detroit Lions, 7-5, 4-2 at home. We're at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. Let's go over the line history here and the cash flow. And then attack. This one is an absolute beauty. I cannot wait for this football game. The look ahead was 5.5, and it didn't move off of that. It reemerged on Sunday night at 3.5, and it only lasted there for 11 minutes before it moved to 3.
So on Saturday, you could have bet this 5.5.
Yes. Yeah, 5.5. And I know people who did. I know people who did back the Cowboys at this number. 3.5 now to 3. So this 3 for the Lions has been as high as about it started dropping from the -120, which it initially got to. I don't really count that. It got up to -120 again, though, on Monday at 11:30 in the morning. It dropped as low as -106 this afternoon. Right now, it's a pick'em. So we've had a 0.5-point move since the reemergence, a 2.5-point move from the look ahead. From a total perspective here, we have a 54.5 The look ahead was 53.5. It reemerged at 53.5. It was a 53.5 yesterday morning, and it's a 54.5 right now at a pick'em. So this one has gone up a point. It's gone up a point from the look ahead and a point from the reemergence. From a cash flow standpoint here, I'll get back over to football. While this is coming up, let's set up the Dallas Cowboys. Next for them, they host the Vikings on the Week 15 Sunday nighter. And, it's not a look ahead, but they host a big game on Sunday night, but certainly not a look ahead. No fear of the Vikings whatsoever. 62% of the tickets, 69% of cash on the Dallas Cowboys. 56% of tickets on the over, 60% of cash is on the under. So Dan's rants, it's hard to get behind Detroit right now, but my God, the entire world's on Dallas. I don't know how this cap ends without not wanting to bet Detroit here. But let's talk this one out. The Cowboys passing offense ranked 3rd, rushing offense 25th, red zone offense 13th, third down offense 5th. Their pass defense and rush defense, we know that the defense is being fortified. And I went a little deeper into that. Their pass defense ranked 28th, their rush defense ranked 30th. Their red zone defense is second worst in the league at 71.1%. So I was curious. I figured that must be a much better number over the last 3 games. That's not the case. They are second last in red zone defense the last 3 games, allowing 77.8% of opponents to score touchdowns when they are in the red zone. The Detroit Lions red zone ranking is 7th at 65.2%. You'd have to think that's part of the reason why this total is going up. Their third down defense is the worst in the National Football League. The Cowboys allow conversions 48.4% of the time. The last 3, they're much better. They're 11th. They're only allowing conversions 35.1% of the time. Their pass rush ranked 11th. Cowboys come in off their 3rd straight, and that pass rush is just climbing, right? Every week it's 4 spots higher or 5 spots higher. The Cowboys coming off their 3rd straight win, an extremely exciting 31-28 victory at home over the Chiefs on Thanksgiving Thursday. Noise-canceled score was 30-30. That came on the heels of beating the defending Super Bowl champs, the Eagles, 24-21, just 4 days earlier. They are 3-0 since the world lost defensive end Marshawn Nealand, and they're full of confidence. The Cowboys were 10th in the NFC entering the Chiefs game. They outgained the Chiefs 457-362. Dak was 27-39 for 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, interceptions. CD caught 7 for 112 in a touchdown, and George Pickens caught 6 for 88 yards. That's a pretty phenomenal 1-2 punch there out wide, and you have a Pro Bowl quarterback who can get them the ball. Javonte Williams ran 17 times for 59 yards, caught 3 for 21. The offense averaged 7 yards per play against the Kansas City Chiefs. 10 of 17 on 3rd and 4th down, but they were held to 2 of 4 in the red zone. The defense held the Chiefs to 5 of 13 on 3rd down, but they did allow them to go 3 of 3 on 4th down and 3 and 3 in the red zone. As we talked about, their red zone defenses being weak. Pass rush, 3 sacks, 9 quarterback hits. Tyler Guyton hasn't practiced this week. Their offensive tackle, crucial offensive tackle with an ankle injury, but he is expected to play. Let's talk about these Lions. Next, they are at the Rams at SoFi Stadium. This is a 7-5 football team looking up at 2 teams in their division. I do not think that they're going to be looking ahead at the Rams. They have to win this football game. I don't feel like this is a look ahead spot. Passing offense ranked 11th, rushing 9th. Red zone 7th. Third down offense ranked 19th. It's a surprise that their third down offense has been so weak. Pass defense 8th, rush defense 3rd. Red zone defense 27th. They allow touchdown 63.2% of the time. So you have 2 extremely weak red zone defenses in play here. Their third down defense ranked 11th at 37.3%. Their pass rush ranked 5th. Luke Burrow says it's a must win for both teams. So absolutely it is. Lions coming off a tough 31-24 home loss to the Packers on Thanksgiving Thursday. Noise canceled score was closer, 30-28 Packers. Goff 20 of 26 for 256, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Jamison Williams caught 7 for 144 and a touchdown. And he stepped up after Amon-Ra St. Brown left with his ankle injury in the first quarter. Dan Campbell said that St. Brown wasn't going to practice today, but that he could still be available for Thursday's game against the Cowboys, which is hard to believe, but he's saying he could be available. Jahmyr Gibbs had an off night. Of course he did, coming off a career night. That's just how it works. 20 carries for 68 yards, 3 catches for 18 yards. The Lions were 8 of 13 on third down, but 0 of 2 on fourth down, 2 of 3 in the red zone. The defense could not get stops with the game on the line. Jordan Love threw 4 touchdown passes on this 8th-ranked pass defense. Packers finished 6 of 12 on third down, a perfect 3 of 3 on fourth down, a perfect 2 of 2 in the red zone. The 5th-ranked pass rush was completely invisible, 0 sacks, 2 quarterback hits. Terrion Arnold concussion and edge rusher Marcus Davenport shoulder returned from injuries, but Terrion Arnold is now being placed on IR, undergo season-ending surgery on his right shoulder this week. Wide receiver punt returner Khalif Raymond is also unlikely to play. He was inactive. He's not coming back. Graham Glasgow is practicing. He may return this week. Brock Wright, Kirby Joseph were inactive and are listed as questionable. The Thursday nighter here, Troy. God, Lions in a buy low spot of the year. Take it away.
Man, I made a post about this game, and I see this line maybe start ticking down towards 2.5, but don't be so concerned about that because the history of a home team that opens 3.5, and closes at 2.5 is not as bad as you might think, especially on prime time where teams in that spot are 5-1 ATS. So, and then the reason I bring that up, I mean, it's really hard. Like you kind of led off with in this handicap, how could you not look at this spot and want to back the Lions, especially what we've been talking about throughout the course of the entire season? Jimmy, am I reading this right? Odds logic. What is the cash flow? I'm seeing 69% on Dallas. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, isn't that what you would expect? I expect.
Yeah, it is. On action, I'm seeing 79%, 89% on Dallas. And when I first opened the book and I started looking at this week's lines, and I seen a 3.25 at the time, I was like, "Are you kidding me? This looks so easy to smash the Cowboys." Every single model. I don't know how anybody would recommend not betting the Cowboys in the spot getting a full 3. I really don't. So immediately starting off this handicap, and then you plug this spot in the database, the history of this market type is extremely bullish for the home team. Even more bullish if it closes at 3. But I love the spot. The last time the Cowboys were a public road dog to this extent, we faded them with a max bet. It was against the Broncos. We cashed it very easily. Broncos had a 20-point win. And that might be clouding my judgment initially, because when I seen them on the road in a very similar market, they started ticking down towards 2.5. That line ended up closing 3.5. So it came all the way back right before game time. Now this one's Thursday night, so it might be a little bit different in terms of, how the market is manipulated, if you will. The sharp action, big money's coming in and making that line creep up to where they get it, and then they get to hammer it on higher limits. But I mean, the Lions are coming. So this is an interesting spot because I faded both teams on Thanksgiving. The Lions, I faded with a max bet. I talked about Goff operating without a tight end. I talked about a defense that's susceptible on the ground and through the air. And they were playing an elite defense in the Packers. The situation against Dallas is vastly different. Cowboys coming off another win. You talked about noise cancel was 30-30. The offense we know is highly efficient. We don't have to get into very specific details with personnel. The defense has taken massive strides in the right direction. And I'd be looking forward to fading them when they're on the road. However, they're back indoors on a fast track, exactly where they like to be. So is this offense going to take a step back? It's hard to say they will, because it looks like they're in a pretty damn good spot against this Lions team and this Lions defense and how they've been performing. But I look at the wins that they have. So who are these 3 wins they've had over the past? They've beaten Kansas City, Philadelphia, and Las Vegas. Kansas City is a team that's below 500. I mean, how good is that team? That team on the road couldn't even beat the Jaguars. Philly just got smacked around and embarrassed at home by the Bears off a loss. How good is Philly this year? And then the Raiders, which we know is probably the worst team in the NFL, or a bottom 2 team in the NFL. And then you start looking deeper into the schedule and you say, hey, where have the Cowboys, where have they played? They haven't been on the road since October 26th. Is that game in Vegas a true road game? Because I bet you there was more Dallas Cowboys fans in the seats than there was Vegas Raiders fans. So I really like the fact that they're coming off 2 home wins. Now they're going on the road against what's got to be the hungriest team and the hungriest coach in the NFL. Yeah, I look at the difference between the offense that the Lions are going to be able to try out there at home on a fast track and what they've seen so far the past 3 weeks. We just seen the Chiefs run the ball for 5.2 yards per carry, and the Chiefs went 3 for 3 in the red zone. I believe the Lions are going to be able to find more success on the ground than the Chiefs did. I mean, that's easy to say, right? And if that's the case, like, it's going to be very difficult for this Cowboys team to generate stops. Jamison Williams is a stud. He's an elite receiver. He's taken a back seat to St. Brown. He's going to have the chance to step up. You still have Gibbs out of the backfield against this Cowboys team. And I really don't think that this Cowboys defense had been tested with their new personnel until Kansas City, and Kansas City put 30 points up on them. I believe we could expect the same from the Lions. Like, I totally understand where this total is going, because it's really hard to make a case for either team to make stops defensively. But I do know that the Cowboys are slightly different on the road offensively. I do think the Lions do have heart. And obviously, looking at this market, there's only one way I could bet this game. And that is the Lions. And I probably will have action on the Lions. I'm just wondering, is it worth moving on the 3 right now? Should we wait? Do we think we're going to see 2.5? If so, for how long? And I'll be betting the Lions in this game. Who's going to get more stops? That's the question. Eberflus or Shepard?
Well, I know what I'm going to do here. As soon as I see that 2.5, I'm going to fire on the Lions. I'm not fading Dallas. We've all seen what they're doing. The plan behind the bet is not fading Dallas. I don't think the Lions are as bad as some cappers here in our chat who think they're done and they're finished. But in honesty, those are things I want to hear from people, that the Lions are done. The Cowboys have just beaten the defending Super Bowl champions and the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, how do you not sell them high? And you could say, look, I'm watching these games. We're all watching these games. But you could say, look, I'm watching these games. This is a team on the rise. But this is how I succeed in sports gambling, is selling high and buying low. And this is sell high, buy low 101 here. I'm not going to move on it now. I imagine this gets to 2.5. And if it doesn't, well, then we should have even more confidence on the spot.
Yeah, true. It's just so hard to be patient because I know I'm betting it, like trying to exercise my discipline, and it's hard in this spot. I will be on the Lions.
Yeah,
the question is for how much, which remains to be seen, because if we're close, it remains. We'll see, but I'm going to be on the Lions for at least 1.
Oh, I don't want more than 1, man.
I do.
I don't want more than 1.
I see all the people. I mean, how could anybody want to be on the Lions in this spot at the 3? I mean, it's just, if this closes 3, I'm going to have to.
Oh, if it closes 3 or higher than -3 or minus 3.25, let's call it. I mean, it'll require more than a unit bet.
Yeah.
But if it goes down to 2.5, I'm going to move on it for a unit.
Right.
And everybody who is on the Cowboys, I mean, this is what I want. So you could be sitting there going, Jimmy, you're wrong. You and Troy are wrong. You guys are going to take a bath. The public wins sometimes. The public's going to win here, and that's completely valid.
Wait, hold on, Dougie. Hold on. What about patience, man? What about discipline? Thinking you can get a better 2.5 number.
Oh, yeah.
Don't sell us out like that, bro.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No, but they're certain that we're wrong, right? So that's fine. When you're certain somebody's wrong, you can pick holes in how they're looking at it. If we think we're going to get a 2.5, then we should be patient and wait for it. Jeff Payne says, what about the double here? Look, if this is like what we expect, now action saying that, it's 70 to 80%, odds logic is saying that it's 62 and 69. If this is a 75 and 80%, and it's a 3.25, then maybe it would require a double result. Maybe it would. We did have some talk. I did talk with Jeff about my double results, because my double results went 0-3 this past week. So for you guys wondering about the double results so I came into the week 18-13 on double results. So now I'm 18-16 plus 3.51 units with an ROI plus 10.32% and average line plus 115. And I was talking to Troy about it too. And Jeff, you brought up some, I like that you brought it up. It's helpful for all of us. And, Troy and I talked about it, and we just think that 0-3 is an outlier and that this is an important angle. Sky Dragon says that maybe he should bet the under. Says Dak about to play terribly, typical when he has expectations. Donut Silk says lines are nothing, haven't made a move yet. ABJ says, do we expect St. Brown to play? I still don't. But Dan Campbell's saying he is. Look, Dan Campbell says what he wants people to hear and what he wants his players to hear. I think that if Amon-Ra St. Brown is announced out and this moves even further towards the Cowboys, I would probably prefer that than Amon-Ra Brown being in and moving towards the Lions. Honestly, if it is an ankle injury, so I think we're on the same page here. It's going to make for a sweaty Thursday night live stream. I completely get it. The Goracle on the Cowboys money line here. Goracle, thank you so much for the dono. Thank you for the support. He's on Jacksonville money line, Houston money line, Cowboys money line, Packers money line, Broncos regulation, Seahawks regulation here. Copied and pasted. Gorky, thank you for sharing that with us. And Troy and I's expectation at this point is to be on the Detroit Lions. At this point, I don't really want to mess with the total. Yeah. But I understand why it's going up to 54.5. I don't think I've ever betted over 54.5 in the NFL in my entire life. Not that they don't hit.
No, Vincent, we don't think that. We loaded up on them against the Raiders, and we're just they're obviously an improved defense, an improved unit. But I mean, the only good offense they've seen just put 30 points up on them, and I thought the Lions are every bit as good of an offense. The Lions are at home and pissed off, and will be able to run the Chiefs just ran the ball on the Cowboys for over 5 yards a carry. Chiefs haven't done that since Nam.
And you have an angry Jahmyr Gibbs instead of a Jahmyr Gibbs who thinks he's better than Barry Sanders. So, it's part of the fun. It will make for a sweaty Thursday nighter as we're going to be on different sides with many of the cappers that we really love capping with each and every day. Let's roll on, though. No action at this point. As soon as I see a 2.5, I'll fire the first unit, and then we'll go from there. But I don't know how much I want to have in on this game. That is our Thursday nighter, Cowboys, Lions, Troy, Torrance. Let's roll on. We start Sunday, December 7th with the Seattle Seahawks 9-3, 5-1 on the road at the Atlanta Falcons, 4-8, 2-3 at home. We're at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's talk about these. That's Sam Darnold, man. That was underpassing, of course. Against when a team does not need to do anything and a quarterback smart enough to understand that. God, that was just a beautiful, beautiful.
And it was going to be all about getting the ball out of his hands quick because the pressure from Flores, keep him safe.
It was just absolutely perfect. This total look ahead was 43.5. It reemerged at 43.5, a little bit cheaper if you wanted the over. 5-cent move towards the under when it reemerged. And now we have a 44.5. So we are up a point. From a point spread standpoint here, Seattle is -7 at -113. The look ahead was 7.5, and it reemerged at 7.5. The 7.5 at one point. So at one point yesterday, the Seahawks were getting hammered. A little after midnight yesterday, this was a -120. From that point, it took about 20 cents of action on Atlanta plus 7.5, and now we have a 7. It is slightly juiced to Seattle, but it's moved. The juice has moved towards Atlanta even at the 7. So we have a 1-point move to the over, a 0.5-point move to the Falcons. When we get to the cash flow, we're not going to get total information, and I can bring up action for that. Or maybe, Troy, you could touch on the action total, and I'll bring up that site. But 66% of the tickets, 70% of the cash on the Seattle Seahawks.
47% of bets, 60% of cash is on the over.
On the over, yeah.
Some bigger bets, a little sharper action, about 50-50 on the bet, on the ticket count.
Shout out to our guy Saturated. Yes, I understand why the city of Chicago is pretty pumped up about their football team right now. Let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks. Next week, they host the Indianapolis Colts. Speaking of great bets, our friend Dennis Garcia, aka Sky Dragon, he was and has been taking a position on the Colts to miss the playoffs for like 4 weeks, every week. And if they don't make the playoffs, he's going to make a lot of money off of it. And they're in a very tough spot to do that, especially with the fractured leg that Danny Dimes has. And now, of course, the injury to Sauce. But we'll get into all that later. Seattle Seahawks passing offense ranked 6th, rushing offense 1st, red zone offense 12th, third down offense 16th. But it's their defense that, I mean, it's tricky to analyze it properly because the Rams defense looked so bad against the Panthers and the Seahawks defense looked so good against, Max Brosmer. So, but we'll get into this in a second. Passing defense ranked 4th, rush defense ranked 4th, red zone defense ranked 11th, third down defense ranked 3rd. They allow conversion just 34.5% of the time. This is a 10th ranked pass rush. Seahawks coming off a dominant 26-0 victory at home over the Vikings. Noise canceled score was 15-0 Seahawks. That's their first shutout for the Seahawks since 2015. The offense didn't have to do much with the Vikings offense being a disaster under rookie Max Brosmer in his first NFL start. Seahawks only put up 219 yards of offense, but held the Vikings to just 162. Seattle had its fewest total yards in a game this season. Darnold, 14-26 for 128 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. A.J. Barner led receivers with 4 catches for 35 yards. It was a rare spot where Jackson Smith in the jig, but didn't have to do very much, and he didn't do very much. Kenneth Walker ran 13 times for 56 yards, and Zach Charbonnet ran 14 times for 52 yards. The offense only put up 3.5 yards per play. 6 of 15 on third down, 1 of 2 in the red zone. I don't take that as any kind of sign about this offense. This is just a professional group that just does what's needed. They didn't need to do much, and they just played clean football. 6 of 15 on third down, 1 of 2 in the red zone, but the defense wreaked havoc all day. Pass rush had 4 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. Ernest Jones had 2 interceptions, returned 185 yards to the house. I asked you last year when they got Ernest Jones for nothing. I was like, what the hell's going on? Why do these teams not want a linebacker who can defend the pass as spectacularly well as Ernest Jones? Like, the whole thing made no sense to me. McDonald gone for a cup of coffee. Reek Woolen and Kobe Bryant also had interceptions. They held the Vikings to 2 of 12 on third and fourth down, 0 of 1 in the red zone. And they limited Justin Jefferson to 2 catches for 4 yards, career low 4 yards. And DeMarcus Lawrence, after the game, said this is the best defense he's played for in his 12 NFL seasons. Also, Julian Love is the safety. Julian Love is, it's a possibility that he returns from the IR this week and suits up. So let's talk about these Atlanta Falcons. They have, are they going to, they're going to be 4-9 when this game is over. And so then is next week at the Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football huge, probably for their jobs and things of that nature. But that is a big game next week on Thursday Night Football at the Buccaneers. Passing offense ranked 26th, rushing offense 8th, red zone offense 8th, third down offense 29th. Their defense is being, strengthened with Diablo and others returning, but still very middling, very pedestrian. Passing defense 15th, rush defense 23rd, red zone defense 13th, third down defense 19th, pass rush 13th as well. So the Falcons coming off a disappointing 27-24 loss to the New York Jets. Noise canceled score was much different. 34-18 Falcons. That's about as different of a noise canceled score from a real score that you'll find. Mm-hmm. Falcons outgained the Jets 389-269. Kirk Cousins was 21-33 for 234 and a touchdown, no picks. Bijan Robinson was a monster, 23 carries for 142 yards, touchdown, caught 5 for 51. The idea in this one is that Bijan Robinson is going to have a very, very difficult day against the Seattle Seahawks 4th-ranked rush defense and a 4th-ranked pass defense. It's not like they don't need to fill the box to stop you. Kyle Pitts led receivers with 7 catches for 82 yards. The offense 4 of 12 on third, but a perfect 3 of 3 in the red zone. The defense held the Jets to 4.3 yards per play, but it's the Jets. The Jets were 8 of 17 on third and fourth down, 2 of 3 in the red zone. Pass rush finished with 2 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. Tight end Felipe Franks left in the first half with an injured calf. He's listed as questionable. Drake London was inactive. Raheem Morris said yesterday that he's considered day-to-day and certainly has a chance to play Sunday against the Seahawks. Troy Torrence, our first game on the Sunday slate. Seahawks Falcons, take it away.
So I actually grown to like this game. So as you talked about, that's the biggest noise canceled differential from the actual result of the game that I've ever seen. And I've been looking at noise canceled scores consistently every time I handicap a football game for 3 years. And it just shocked me to see that because I didn't watch this game live. I had the under, but I had other action going on, so I didn't have a chance to really watch the Falcons-Jets game. But when you start breaking down the numbers, I mean, it's insane. I mean, they outgained the Jets by 1.5 yards per play. They ran the ball for 5.2 yards per carry. They went a perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. Their EPA per play was plus 0.26. The Jets minus 0.14. I mean, you don't see teams win football games with those splits. And the Seahawks, on the other hand, so you got the Falcons coming off a loss where they definitely should have won that football game. And I think it was a goal line fumble that really, a fumble on their own 1 or 2 yard line or something like that really set the Jets up for the win. But the Seahawks, just like they always do, enjoyed another cakewalk against the quarterback-less team, right? I mean, Brosmer, even if they got J.J. McCarthy, I mean, that Vikings team is pretty much quarterbackless at this point. And they went, and then all that, they beat the Vikings, but what they really do in that game, and I did watch this game, on the backs of a 40% success rate and a minus 0.16 EPA per play. Only 3.5 yards per play at home is 11-point favorites. They were gifted another defensive touchdown like they always get at home. And the team looks like a juggernaut when you're looking at their record and the win margin. But if you really think about it, this team is vastly overperformed. What is the record against winning football teams? It's 2-3. They have wins against the Steelers and the Jaguars, who I'm going to really want to just cross those off the list because I don't believe in either of those football teams, obviously. The Seahawks run D. I mean, really the question I have for this game is, will the Atlanta Falcons be able to generate offense on the ground to open up the play action and to take the pressure off Kirk Cousins? That's the question you have to answer if you're backing the Falcons. And you don't need much as a 7.5-point dog, but the Seahawks run defense has been formidable. There's no doubt about it. Right now, PFF got them 4th overall in the NFL. They allowed 4.1 yards per carry against the Vikings, who has no threat of a passing game, keep in mind. And then they locked up the Tennessee Titans, 2.9 yards per carry. But how about the Rams that went for 5.4 yards per carry? Or the Arizona Cardinals, who went for 5.6 yards per carry? Or the Washington Commanders, who went for 4.4 yards per carry? I think that the Atlanta Falcons could hang out in that range between 4.5 to 5 yards per carry. I don't see why that wouldn't be the case. And it just reminds me a lot of the Rams game last week, a team just coming off the highest of highs, just dominating a team at home. I don't want to say the highest of highs, but they really haven't played a game versus a quality football team. Now you can argue that this Falcons team is not a quality football team, but I look at what this defense has been able to do over the past few weeks, and I might be a little bit biased because remember I did have some futures on this Falcons team, but I'm a believer in this defense. Luke Burrow asked if he could he don't know if he could stomach betting on Raheem Morris, and I would agree with that. It's really hard to pass on to back him, and then to back Kirk Cousins as a starter. Though he came out, he looked terrible in that one game. He got thrown into the fire, no doubt about that. When he got put in against Carolina and put in against the Commanders early in the season, but now he has 2 games as a starter under his belt. He's gotten better in both games. He posted a passer rating of 95 and 107, a completion percentage of 66%, only 1.5% turnover-worthy play percentage, and he was above average as a PFF grade. I get it. It's the Jets and Saints. It's a different animal we're talking about, but at least we see Kirk Cousins moving in the right direction. I'm preparing for a letdown spot. Seahawks coming off 2 wins against incompetent teams, the Tennessee Titans, the Minnesota Vikings. The Falcons off an embarrassing loss that they should have won. Kirk Cousins and Raheem Morris have their futures in the NFL on stake. So this would be a staple win that'll help carry their careers on further. And the history of this market, it's too early to tell right now, but it does look very favorable for this Falcons team. And the optics to me are just perfect. The Seahawks are perceived as this juggernaut who smash teams, need wins for playoff positioning, just like the Rams did last week against the Panthers. The Falcons are being left for dead. People think they want to lose. All the money and the action's coming in on Seattle, and the history of this market says Atlanta. So I want to be on Atlanta. I moved on Atlanta, 7.5 minus 115.
Ooh. Wow. Falcons plus 7.5 minus 115. I mean, I understand that this is, Atlanta and no bet. I just don't know if I have the balls to move on Atlanta. I think it's very telling that it's moved to 7. You talk about this market. Does it matter if it doesn't go under the 7? if it stays, what happens if it goes back to 7.5? Can you touch on the market efficiency database within the Falcons, the home dog here, out of division? Can you touch on it?
Yeah, it's really interesting that the only time this profile would flip to unfavorable is if it gets above 9. So if we start seeing 9.5 above the teaser range, putting it outside the teaser range, then you start seeing the road team cleaning up ATS. Other than that, I don't mind 8.5. Obviously, I would love to see 6.5, and then I would even start maybe even flirting with the money line bet on the Falcons.
And questions about this total. We've seen it go from 43.5 up to 44.5. And we have a fast track Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But, the Seahawks have not, if you fight fire with, like, if the Seahawks are forced to push it, they're capable of doing it here. What do you think of this total? Because a lot of thoughts about the under here in our chat.
Just thinking about the unders in Seattle games and the 44.5, I don't like it. I don't like these 44.5s. Although I would want to fade the line movement between 44.5 and 46.5. So I guess I would lean towards the under. I just don't know. I mean, there's just too many. This Seahawks team creates too many splash plays with big throws, 70-yard plays to Jackson Smith, punt return touchdowns, fumble for touchdowns, defensive scores. So, yeah, I don't want anything to do with this total.
Falcons plus 7.5 minus 115 for Troy. I have interest. I'm certainly not going to move on to tonight. This will be one of those spots I would need to really gain confidence within, but it's a very exciting bet by Troy Torrence. We're going to move on to our next spot.
Another one you're going to love then, Jim, coming up later.
I'm excited. We're going to move on to our next spot, but not just yet. Here, we're going to take a second. Jose, our friend Wager Detective is in the chat, a great friend of ours, a great friend of the channel's, and he is going through the death of his mother right now, and it's fresh and it's hurting, and to see him in the chat is wonderful. To come here and cap and get away with all of the, he's going to be leading his family through all this. So if we could all just take a second and send our love to Wager Detective, send him love and strength. Just take a second if you can, however you do it. Just send some strength and love to our friend, the Wager Detective, as he carries his family through this extremely difficult time. Our thoughts are with you, and love seeing you here in the chat. And I understand completely that, this is an opportunity to get away from it in the cap. And let's cap Wager Detective. Let's cap this football card. Let's crush this card. And you are loved by so many of us here. So our thoughts are with you. And, some days are going to be easier than others. And there's nothing that anybody can say to make it easier. But your friends are on your side and believe in you and love you and love capping with you. And just really believe that your strength will carry your family through this, and that your mom's always going to be with you. And just wanted to take a second to send our love to you, Wager Detective, my good friend. All right, let's move on to our next spot on the board. 1 p.m. Eastern, with the Cincinnati Bengals 4-8, 2-4 on the road at the Buffalo Bills, 8-4, 5-1 at home. What a football game this is set up to be. Highmark Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. Through the time capping this game, Troy, there was the points where Bengals are, the Bills are. Like, I was like, it was so. Oh man, it was just.
Yeah, we're lockstep then, man. Let's go back and let's waffle. Let's do a lot of waffling here.
This is tricky. Highmark Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. Now it's funny, we talk about whether or not to trust weather reports at this point in the year, and it's a tricky thing to do. At this point, though, it's 26 Fahrenheit, very cold with snow showers. And, you have the lake effect, the snow coming in. But at this point also, it's supposed to stop snowing right around kickoff. It's supposed to stop snowing for the rest of the day. So just keep that in mind here, that it says snow showers, but a lot of the sites I've been looking at say it's going to stop during the game. Let's get into the line history, and right off the top of the game as well. Let's get into the line history here We have the Buffalo Bills minus 5.5. The look ahead was 5.5. And I guess, you know what? Actually, there was no look ahead. I take that back. Sorry, there was no look ahead for this one because of, I guess, the Burrow injury or seeing if he could make it through the game. No look ahead here. Opened up at 5.5, went down to 5, got up to 6. Buffalo was minus 6 today at 2:21 p.m. And now we're back at 5.5 or a 5. The 5.5 is heavily juiced towards the Bengals. It is a tricky number. It's a tricky number. From a total stamp, I mean, look, I understand the very first thought everybody would say or think in their head, oh, I got to take the Bengals at this number. Got to take the Bengals at this number. Like, I get it. You know, I understand that part of it. The total opened up at 51.5. It dropped to 50.5. Now it's a 53. I wonder if that is also sort of weather related. As the days go past, now they're saying there's no snow showers. So I wonder if that is weather related. And again, with the lake effect, it can snow heavy even when it says just light snow showers. We get to the cash flow here for this massive, massive football game. We have 52% of the tickets and 66% of the cash on the Buffalo Bills. It's a bit of a surprise. 83% of tickets on the over and 87% of cash on that over. Let's start with the Bengals. Passing offense ranked 16th. We know with Joe Burrow they're better than that. Rushing offense ranked 23rd. Remember, this was the worst rushing offense in the NFL. What? How long ago was it ranked 32nd? Troy, 5 weeks ago?
Not even. I want to say 3 or 4 weeks ago. Honestly, it had 5 weeks max.
It's Chase Brown is stepping up in a way we expected him to at the beginning of the year. Red zone offense ranked 18th, third down offense ranked 12th. It's a pretty nice statistical profile of an offense considering Burrow's played 3 games. Passing defense ranked 26th, rush defense ranked 30th, red zone defense ranked 28th, and their third down defense is the second worst in the NFL. They allow conversions 47.3% of the time. Their pass rush is 26th. That's actually improved quite a bit. This was a 30th, 31st, 32nd ranked pass rush. And they're doing this without Trey Hendrickson in the lineup. Bengals coming off extra rest and prep after an extremely impressive 32-14 victory at the Ravens on Thanksgiving Thursday in Burrow's first game back from his foot injury. Noise canceled score was same deal, 26-17 Bengals. Bengals benefited from winning the turnover battle 5-1. Do I want to fade every single team that wins the turnover battle by 4 the next game? Yes. Yes, I do. I always have, and I always want to. And I usually do get there. Bengals average just 4.8 yards per play. I was surprised when I saw that number. I was drinking heavily through that third game because the Ravens were falling apart. And I was like, oh no. But they did dominate time of possession, 38 minutes and 46 seconds to 21-14. Joe Burrow was 24-46 for 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jamar Chase had 7 catches for 110 yards. Chase Brown ran 15 times for 78 yards while catching 7 passes for 35 yards. Bengals were 8 of 19 on third down and 1 of 6 in the red zone. Just 1 of 6. The defense was strong all night. This was the fewest points the Bengals have allowed all season long. First time they allowed less than 26 since week 1 in a win over Cleveland. Held the Ravens to 4-12 on third down. And fourth down, 4-12 on third and fourth down. They only offered the Ravens 2 red zone chances. Ravens cashed once. And it's Joseph Osai who led the pass rush with 2 sacks, 4 quarterback hits. Only one other Bengal, Jalen David, touched the quarterback all game long. And Zach Taylor said yesterday, Trey Hendrickson is considered doubtful for Sunday's game. T. Higgins is still in concussion protocol. And Brian Asamoah, their linebacker, was placed on injured reserve yesterday. Got hurt in the game. Let's talk about these Buffalo Bills. One of the problems here is they're at the Patriots next week. That's a massive game. Passing offense ranked 9th, rushing 6th, red zone 11th, third down offense ranked 4th. Pass defense 20th. This rush defense is ranked 29th. Red zone defense 15th, third down defense 13th, and their pass rush ranked 7th. Bills coming off an impressive 26-7 victory at the Steelers. Noise canceled score was 22-8 Bills. I guess in all, I guess this is 4-1. I guess because we were on opposite sides on this one, and I didn't move on it till like literally 30 minutes before kickoff. I should keep that in mind, I guess, so we were on different sides in 2 spots this past week, and I thought I was in business at halftime, but things changed in a hurry. Without their starting offensive tackles, coming off a loss at Houston where we watched Allen get sacked 8 times, Buffalo gashed the Steelers to death on the ground, 249 yards rushing. Outgained the Steelers 372 to 166, had 26 first downs compared to only 10 for the Steelers. Completely dominated time of possession, 41-59 to just 18-01. Josh Allen was 15 to 23 for just 123 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He also ran 8 times for 38 yards, broke the NFL record for rushing touchdowns by a quarterback with 76 and didn't care at all. James Cush. You know what I'm thinking about. James Cook ran 32 times for 144 yards and led receivers with 3 catches for 33 yards. He did lose a fumble. This wide receiver group is looking worse and worse and worse every single week we see them. Ty Johnson, Brandon Cooks, Keon Coleman, Gabe Davis, and Khalil Shakir combined for 8 catches for 52 yards. Those 5 wide receivers. Bills were 10 to 17 on 3rd and 4th down, 2 of 4 in the red zone. Alec Anderson and Ryan Van Demark, their backup tackles, were strong. And the defense completely shut the Steelers down, held the Steelers to just 3.9 yards per play. Maybe that's not saying much. Black and yellow look weak. Held them to just 3 of 10 on 3rd and 4th down, 1 of 2 in the red zone. Pass rush was quiet with 1 sack and 2 quarterback hits. One of those hits was Joey Bosa destroying Aaron Rodgers, knocking him out of the game for a while. Bosa did sustain a hamstring injury in the 4th quarter and did not return. Buffalo was leading very comfortably. He's listed as questionable this week, and I couldn't get more information than I was trying to. Christian Bedford had an interception. So we have wide receiver Joshua Palmer, tight end Dalton Kincaid, offensive tackles Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown, linebacker Terrell Bernard, all inactive last week and are listed as questionable this week. But, and this is really, really important, the play of those 2 backup linemen, Alec Anderson and Ryan Van Demark, is a massive boost to this offensive line as the season goes on. To know that they can give pieces a rest because these guys can do the job. They can keep everybody fresh. It was a very important display. Troy Torrence, take it away. This is the big one, or a giant one. Bengals, Bills.
I find something fascinating about this game, and I was right there with you, and especially with this line chilling around the 6 right now. So important where this line might close, and that's probably what's going to end up dictating my action. But I just wanted to drop this. I mean, this is super important in my opinion to know, and I'll kind of summarize what I see in this after. But home teams that close between -4.5 and -6.5. The line movement in those games are 52 and 44, 54%, pretty good, right? But if 50% or more of the bets are on the road team, that increases to 29 and 16 ATS, 64%. And if 60% or more of the bets are on the road team, that line movement becomes 16 and 6, 73%. If you take it one step further and say, if it's a non-divisional game, 13 and 2 ATS, 87%, meaning the line movement is king. I don't, maybe I should have finished with that because that's exactly how I feel in this game. I'm going to completely let the market dictate my action here. If the bookies are going to show respect to the Bengals backers, to everyone piling in on the Bengals, which clearly seemed like the right side with Joe Burrow back in the picture, and also this Bengals defense, which has been significantly better the past 3 weeks, significantly better. They held the Steelers to a 43% success rate 3 weeks ago. Then they held the Patriots to a 45% success rate. That's league average. They held them 0 for 2 in the red zone. And then they held the Ravens to a 38% success rate. Like, this defense has been improving. And it just shows you the dynamics, the pendulum of the NFL, the highs, and this is the buy low, sell high type of deal right there. That explains it. They went from the worst defense in the NFL to posting 3 great performances against 2 good offenses, 1 great offense, and the Steelers, who are lackluster. They shouldn't be included in that conversation. So there's a lot of reasons to like the Bengals. Then you insert Joe Burrow back into the picture offensively. And yes, Flacco was good. But, I mean, come on. Joe Burrow just brings an entirely new level of competence over Joe Flacco. They surround him with elite weapons. Chase, Higgins, Brown. I don't sleep on this Cincy team. I don't want to sleep on them. The real question is, are they going to be able to run the football? Because the Steelers weren't able to. But they were able to, the Steelers don't have any vertical threats. They have one guy. And that's DK Metcalf. Outside of that, they're not going to be threatening you downfield. Cincinnati's going to be threatening your ass downfield. That should open up the run. That should allow the Bengals to move the football on the ground. Now, even though they have been rushing the football a lot better, the Bengals' run blocking grade is still 30th in the NFL. So they have jumped up from 32nd to 30th, so they are moving in the right direction. But it just feels like they won't be able to fully expose the Bills' biggest vulnerability. And it's hard to want to back the Bills on the other side. It's like there's a lot of reasons to like the Bengals here because the Bills are coming off a blowout road win, a market environment that was a smash spot. that I've been preaching about for multiple years. They absolutely dominated the trenches on both sides of the ball. They ran the ball very efficiently. They posted a 50% success rate, and then they held the Pittsburgh Steelers to 32%. But that's what happens when you face a one-dimensional offense, especially in a game with a lot of wind. And in this case, it's a team that's not one. I don't want to call the Steelers one-dimensional necessarily, but the wind kind of forces that. But the real reason they're one-dimensional is because they can't threaten you vertically. Even the worst defenses could have great performances in that spot, So there's a lot that we have to figure out with this market, and this is what I'm all about. I mean, I would say the X's and O's, say the Bengals. The public is all over it, and rightfully so. I'm sure the model bettors are betting the Bengals, and I'm going to be sitting here waiting because, if this closes 6 or above, I will be on the Bills likely. But if it closes below that 6, which I kind of hope happens here, I will be on the Bengals. The question is, for how much?
I'm with Topset. I think this closes at 4.5. This line makes no sense to me. But it's perfectly proportioned to what we saw in the Ravens game. So, but I mean, when I first looked at this game, I was like, how do you not just hammer the Bengals before I'm even capping it? I'm like, what? How would you not want the Bengals in this spot with the Bills facing the Patriots in Foxborough next week? This is such a big number. I mean, how in that Bengals Ravens game, you had the Bengals +6, and then you had the Ravens double result.
Yeah.
It kind of fits this game here. This number is insane to me with what we just saw the Bengals do. Now, do you write it off saying, look, the Ravens are a 500 football team? That's who they are. They're just an average football team. Do you feel that way? Or do you think that the Bengals just beat up a really good football team in Baltimore and have all the momentum here to roll into Buffalo, who may be in a look-at spot and do it again?
No, I don't think that is the case. I think the Ravens, and I talked about this, and the reason I was on the Bengals last week is not because Joe Burrow was back in town. It's because the Ravens offense, and I'm going to get into the specifics behind what I'm saying, has fallen off a cliff. So I'm not that impressed with what the defense was able to do. I do think the Bengals are an above-average football team with Joe Burrow at quarterback. I don't know if I answered your question.
I can't. This number is, when numbers are like this to me, I don't want to bet them because they put out a number where everybody's going to want to move on the Bengals.
Yeah, I know.
So I just generally don't bet those games or bet those numbers.
And then another thing about it is that, later in the season, when you see this line movement that I consider the cash cow market in the NFL, it's way less successful later in the season. So
that was a question that sort of was being animated by Jeff Payne saying, he was sort of saying, do we think that the double results will cash less this time of year? I mean, he didn't quite say it, but I think that's sort of what he was saying. If the cash cows aren't as effective this time of year, then the double results would be too.
Yeah,
it's funny because if you switch to like the Canadian football, the double results get way more effective late in the season. Jared TG says he doesn't see this betting this game. Omer says, yeah, better pass here. Rose says Buffalo ran for 240 versus an overrated, overpublicized Pitt D is why they are getting this line of respect. Bengals run D sucks. It depends if you look at the statistical profile as a whole season or you look at it for the last 3 games. It's tricky. It is tricky. And our guy, Old E, is moving on the first half under 26.5 at +105 right now. So at this point, we said this in the Washington Commanders game. I said simply, I'm just going to let the the market dictate it. If it closes at 5.5 or 5, which it didn't really, because it kind of came back to the 6, but it went to 5.5 5 for a long time. So I bet the Commanders, used them in the cappers contest. And I said if it was going to be 6.5 or 7, I'll be on the Broncos. I guess you're saying that's the similar situation here with the Bengals. If this goes down to 5 and then 4.5, you're going to bet the Bengals?
Well, I like the road teams going through the 6 a lot more. I think it's a lot stronger when the home team's laying 6 or more and then it closes below the 6.
So why aren't we on this tonight?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I could see a 6.5 118 or a 6 118 right now.
I see a 6.
I was honestly shopping for a Bengals ticket right now.
I just think this is too many points. I just, and look, if the Bengals, I feel like it feels like somebody's waiting around the corner. It's just too easy. And that's my concern. But I don't know how we don't move on the Bengals right now, how they don't keep this within touchdown. Well, look, I'm not too impressed with what the Bills did against the Steelers. The Steelers looked horrible. This is a team that's falling apart. We'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah, DG, it's too easy. Look, it's just too easy, DG. This isn't how I make money. With the most simple spot on the board, you bet. It's just not. I try to overcomplicate things. I don't know. But yeah, maybe it's the move. Maybe I move on to tonight. And Troy looking for a spot right now. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board here. 1 p.m. Eastern. Tennessee Titans 1-11, 1-4 on the road. The Cleveland Browns 3-9, 2-4 at home. Huntington Bank Field in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm going to get into it shortly when my games pop up, but there was an idea that we'd have inclement weather in some of these spots this week. It certainly looked at when I was going over the weather report last week for this week, and that's not the case. There's not very much wind. Now, things can change. When this look-ahead total was 34.5 with only 7-mile-per-hour snow showers, I didn't really understand why it opened up so low, and it has just dropped. So we have snow showers, 7-mile-per-hour winds, nothing crazy. I checked the weather 3 different times throughout the week, so we'll see how it bangs out. But the 34.5 didn't appeal to me, and it's even dropped since then. Let's get into the line history here right now. We have Cleveland -4, -106. The look ahead was 3.5. It reemerged at 3.5. It moved to 4, dropped back to 3.5, 4, 3.5. Now we're at a 4 again. It is juiced towards the Titans. You can get the 3.5 if you so choose. From a total side of things here, we have it's back. It's come back. Okay, interesting. So the look ahead was 34.5. It reemerged at 33. I saw a 32.5 at 365. Now we're back at 34. What I should have done was bet the over 32.5 when it was there instead of just waxing on it. From a cash flow standpoint here, 76% of the tickets, 82% of the cash on the Cleveland Browns, circa hanging a flat 4. And they've got 83% of the tickets and 93% cash on the Browns. That's interesting. They opened at 3.5 and they moved a half point in the direction where the money's coming in, which isn't something that they always do. And then we have what did I do with it? Then we have 60% of tickets on the under and 65% of cash on that under. The Titans, we're going to start with them. They're at the 49ers next week. Passing offense ranked 30th, rushing offense 31st, red zone 28th, and third down offense 32nd. They only convert first downs 29.4% of the time. It's a weak squad. Passing defense ranked 24th. Their rush defense, though, ranked 8th. And I'm sure that's what predicated the very, very low total. Red zone defense ranked 24th. They allow touchdown 60.5% of the time. Their third down defense isn't bad, 16th, allowing conversions 38.4% of the time. Their pass rush is 15th, even though we don't see it very often. The Titans coming off their 7th straight loss, an ugly 25-3 setback at home versus the Jaguars. The noise cancel score was 19-9 Jaguars. 11 straight losses at home for the Titans, longest streak since this franchise moved to Tennessee. Cam Ward was 24-38 for 141 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Chigo Okonkwo led receivers to 4 catches for 29 yards. Tony Pollard ran 10 times for 60 yards. He did lose a fumble. Titans averaged 3.4 yards per play, 3 of 16 on third and fourth down, 0 of 1 in the red zone. The defense tried to keep them in it, held the Jags to 3 of 13 on third down, but did allow them to go 2 of 2 in the red zone. Pass rush, 3 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. Amani Hooker is dealing with a rib injury. It happened late in the game. He's questionable this week. Lloyd Cushenberry, their center, did not play. Cornerback Jalen Armour Davis, safety Kendall Brooks, and defensive tackle Shai Tuttle were all inactive and are listed as questionable this week. The Cleveland Browns are at the Bears next. No look-ahead spots for them. A passing offense 31st, rushing offense 29th, red zone offense 20th, and third down offense 30th. Their pass defense ranked 11th, second best rush defense in the league, 7th ranked red zone defense, allowing touchdowns 54.3% of the time, 14th ranked third down defense. And this is the number 1 pass rush in the NFL. Coming off an ugly 26-8 home loss to the 49ers. Noise canceled score was 2017 Browns. Let me ask you, Troy, when we saw this, when we came to Sunday, and now it's a 5, and then it's a 5.5. Sharpie talked about it during our NFL pub. Did you, when you see it coming back to the 49ers, were you like, oh, I'm in big trouble?
No. I didn't feel that way.
Well, the noise
I don't think it played out that way either.
Well, not in the noise canceled score. 2017 Browns.
I mean, not fundamentally down football either, like.
I got nervous. I was trying not to be, but I got nervous with line moving back to the Niners. Browns outgained the 49ers 253 to 252, but held back by 2 costly fumbles. Shador was 60 and 25 for 149 yards and a touchdown. Sanders completed 8 of his first 11 passes, looked very much in control, and then 76 offensive yards after halftime. Harold Fannin Jr. led receivers with 3 catches for 43 yards, but he lost a costly fumble. Judkins is a beast, 23 carries for 91 yards, caught 3 for 18. Offense was 3 of 11 on third down, but 0 for 4 on fourth, and were not given a red zone opportunity. The defense couldn't get stops with the game on the line. Niners were 11 of 17 on third down and 3 of 5 in the red zone. Myles Garrett had the lone sack, 3 of their 7 quarterback hits. So he has 19 now. And it's his 6th straight game where he has recorded a sack, and he needs 4 to break the record held by both Michael Strahan and TJ Watt. But there's big problems here. Jack Conklin suffered a concussion. He's suffered many of them in his career, so he's in protocol. And guard Wyatt Teller is now week to week with a calf injury. These are 2 huge pieces of the offensive line. Defensive tackle Malik Collins and running back Dylan Sampson were injured in the third quarter. Collins is done. Malik Collins is placed on injured reserve today. And Stefanski said that they're viewing Sampson as day-to-day. So some injuries, some real injury issues. Take it away for us here, Troy. Titans, Browns.
Both these teams I backed last week, and these were actually 2 of the sides I bet the heaviest. I mean, I didn't bet the side with the Titans, but I bet the Jaguars team total over. And I feel like I got slighted in both cases. And I look at what the Browns were able to do against the 49ers. The Browns dominated that football game. Okay, the Browns or the 49ers, I have it somewhere. The 49ers scoring drives, 6 plays for 16 yards and a touchdown, 9 plays for 32 yards and a touchdown, 6 plays for 18 yards and a touchdown. Their 3 touchdowns came in drives that 2 of them were less than 20 yards and 1 was 30 yards. Like, to me, that's a completely I guess what I'm saying that is I cannot wait to fade the 49ers down the stretch this season. I think there's going to be some incredible opportunities to fade them. The Browns had a success rate 40%, the 49ers 34%. Browns EPA per play plus 0.08. The San Francisco 49ers minus 0.20. Take away the fumbles, take away the noise, which truly was noise. The Browns were a much better team. And I'm looking towards the Browns in this matchup. You look at the history of this sample where teams open 3.5 to 4 with this low of a total. The home team is definitely on the table as it relates to ATS, no matter how you slice the cake. And I'm not surprised to see this at all. But in the entire sample, now I'm looking at a 22-game sample, only 1 game moved towards the home team. So in almost every situation with this low of a total and this opening line, we see this move towards the Titans. So I'm not going to be surprised to see this line continue to move towards the Titans. And I'll be looking to buy up a shorter number. I feel like the Titans posted another pitiful performance. It reminds me of why I avoided this team like the plague for probably 7-8 weeks. The offense is a complete embarrassment of football. People want to blame the Titans offensive line. At least that's what I've heard people try to do for Cam Ward's mishaps, when in reality, they're not doing that bad of a job. They're 19th in pass block. allowing pressure on Ward 36% of the time, which is 10th highest, or 22nd, depending on how you look at it. That's not that bad. And I don't think it's Cam Ward. I think it's the play calling. The play calling is trash. They ran the ball 14 times for 5 yards per carry and then completely abandoned it when they know with the rookie quarterback they need it because they don't have the weapons around him for them to just drop back and pass. It's ridiculous. The Titans run play action 21% of the time. That's 24th in the NFL. That's absolutely awful for a young quarterback. And it's a reminder, I posted a list of the quarterbacks who use play action at the highest rate in the NFL. Those are the best quarterbacks in the league. Those are the best offensive coordinators in the league. The fact that other teams aren't adopting it just shows me how stubborn or just how stupid some football coaches are. Complete incompetence. And the defense, it's not atrocious, but they still show that they have clearly many voids in their defense. And the offense for the Browns on the other side of the spectrum is much better. Clearly, it's an operational offense with Sanders in there. In 2 starts, he's done with what Gabriel could not do, posting the highest success rate in 2 weeks that they had all season under Gabriel. And, like I talked about last week, Shadir Sanders had a 200-yard passing game on 25 attempts. Gabriel needed 50 attempts to do that. He stretches the field vertically, and he just offers this offense so much more. And what that does is allows them to win in the trenches. They ran the ball for 4.5 yards per carry against San Francisco. I think a lot of that had to do is because they had to defend 15, 20 yards down the field, which they didn't have to do against Dylan Gabriel. The offensive line for the Browns is also climbing up the ranks up to 24th in the run block category. Like, I expect the Browns to basically face at least the least path of resistance. I always struggle to get that out. I'm fading the Titans in this spot. I'm waiting for a better number. I do have a Browns-Rams money line parlay for -110. This is the first road game since November 2nd for this Tennessee Titans team. This is the spot that automatically I seen that. The first thing I started with was their resume. Immediately, I knew I was going to be fading this team. They had a bye week, and then they had 3 straight home games. And they've been absolutely putrid on the road. They were lucky to have any covers. Arizona and Denver. The Arizona was a miraculous comeback and win. I could see it now, I could see it now. This total is so short. All the talking heads in the industry are going to be talking about the value with the points relative to the low total. I'll be fading the shit out of that sentiment. And the Titans will not find anywhere near 40% success rate on offense. They're going to depend on how the Browns lose a lot of times, right? They're going to need fumbles, muff punts, missed kicks, things of that nature. And if that happens, so be it. I'll have to just eat the loss. I'm going to take the Browns, who are 4-0 OTS, 4-0 ATS coming off a noise canceled cover when they didn't cover. I trust their offense to generate more points in this game. And we only need 17 points or so to cover this spread. I don't think the Titans are going to be even getting north of 10 points. So, yeah, I'm on the Browns. I'm waiting, see if I get a better number because I do think this moves towards the Titans.
And so Tevin Jenkins and Cornelius Lucas will be right guard, right tackle. Does that concern you at all? Or just like the Bills showed, you can plug in a guard or a tackle and they will take care of business? Wyatt Teller and Jack Conklin are such huge pieces of this line.
Yeah, I know. And I did say that they are trending upwards, but at the same time, it's not like this offensive line has been great by any means, any stretch of the imagination. And I still imagine that a lot of the scheme is going to be heavy run, play action. So, yeah, it does concern me, but not all that much. And I think it would be reflected in the line. And this line is telling me that the Browns are going to hold this team to 0 points.
And at this point, your only move on the Browns is in on money line parlay?
Correct.
And what is that? The Cleveland Rams?
Cleveland and the Rams -110.
And
what week was that game in? Seattle playoff week 12. Yeah, week 12. Let's see how the old Tennessee Titans put up 24 points on the old Seahawks there. And in a spot where they're at home. I guess 37% success rate. That's pretty good.
Chimere Dike had that 90-yard punt return in that one, which certainly helped. So your plan at this point is what you want to see if it gets to a 3, or are you moving towards a double result or?
Yeah, 3.5. I'll probably be buying to a 3. That's what I'm hoping to do. I don't think I'll be on the double result. I don't know why, though, because the Browns are usually the team that if they're down, they're not coming back. So I don't know if that applies to this game. And yeah, the 3-3 tie, like I think that's kind of on the table here at half. I don't know.
So what do you think of the total? Opening up at 34.5. I see it at 32.5. Now we're back at 34.
Yeah, I don't have many opinions on the total. It's too low of a total. It doesn't give me a lot of sample to work with. So very few. I had this up earlier. When do we see totals open under 37? Not very often.
No, very, very rarely. Very, very rarely. And the weather isn't even that bad.
24 out of 1,012 games. So 25 times has it opened under, and 15 and 10 to the under in those spots.
Oh, I love very low unders, but this one just I didn't know what to do with it. I was surprised it went to 32.5. It makes sense that it's going to come back up. I bet you it closes at 35 or 35.5 here. Quickly, we have a question from Jonathan Yim on the Survivor pick. We just heard Dennis Garcia and others talk about possibly using the Browns. I very nervously might move on the Buccaneers. I'm still working on it. I will know for sure by Thursday, probably by tomorrow. I was leaning towards the Buccaneers, but that could change. Let's roll on to the next spot on the board here, Troy. 1 p.m. Eastern. Washington Commanders 3-9, 1-5 on the road at the Minnesota Vikings 4-8, 1-4 at home. We're at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's get into the line history here for this first spot on the board. I shouldn't say first spot on the board. I guess we're 4 or 5 in, but this spot on the board, we have the look ahead was Minnesota -2.5. That got bet down. That didn't really actually. It moved juice wise. There was 8 cents of movement towards the Commanders, but stayed at 2.5. It reemerged Sunday night at +1.5, -1.5 for the Vikings, and then it moved very quickly to a pick'em. And then the Vikings were dogs. You could have got the Vikings +2.5 yesterday at 3:30 p.m., which would have been a 5-point swing from the look ahead and a 4-point swing from where it reemerged. That went away very quickly, and Minnesota is now the favorite again, -1.5, -115. Very interesting line movement here. From a total side of things, we have the Commanders, Vikings total at 42. There are a bunch of 41.5s on the board. The look ahead was 41.5, and it got bet up to 43.5 before it went away. It reemerged at 42, dropped to 41 for a cup of coffee, back at 42. So it's right where it reemerged, and it's up a half point from when the opening look ahead that did get bet up. JJ McCarthy will be at quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings here. A big possible part of this line move. Take a look at the cash flow here for Vikings Commanders. 69% of the tickets on Washington and 65% of the cash on Washington. You know, that doesn't really make sense to me. We certainly were in a great position to back Washington off the bye at home as a big dog with very low expectations. Here they go into Minnesota, a team in a funk, has only won 1 game at home. It just this already feels like a spot where I would want to be on Minnesota. We'll get into it more. I've always really liked when a young quarterback watches somebody play worse than him. And it was a very difficult casting situation to find a quarterback who could possibly be worse than JJ McCarthy. We spoke on Sunday that if you spiked the ball every single play at quarterback, your passer rating would be 39.6. Twice this year, JJ McCarthy has had a worse passer rating than a quarterback who would spike the ball every single play. And that is JJ McCarthy, who unbelievably, I'm telling you that I am interested in backing. 63% of the tickets, 59% cash on the over. And then that's from action. We don't have anything from Odds Logic at this point. The Commanders have the Giants on deck at the Giants. Passing offense ranked 7th. Rushing offense ranked 11th. Red zone offense ranked 2nd. Oh, I've got a blurry camera. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can fix that here quickly. Jose can let me know if it's still blurry. Sorry about that. Jose, let me know if it's still blurry. I apologize. I don't know why that's happening. Back to the red zone offense for the Commanders. Ranked second in the NFL, 69.7%. Third down offense ranked 13th. This is the worst passing defense in the NFL. It is the 21st ranked rush defense, 25th ranked red zone defense, 24th ranked third down defense. Is weak. Pass rush ranked 22nd. Commanders coming off their 7th straight loss. Tough 27-20. Thank you, Hino Ball, my man. A tough 27-26 overtime setback at home to the Broncos. Noise canceled score was 27-27. It's right there. Mariota played quite well, 28-50, 294 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. He also led the Commanders in rushing, 55 yards off 10 carries. Jaden Daniels remains questionable with his elbow injury. Zach Ertz, 10 receptions for 106. Terry McLaurin caught 7 for 96 in the touchdown. Offense went 11 of 20 on 3rd and 4th down, 3 of 5 in the red zone, but the defense just couldn't get enough stops. Broncos went 8 of 16 on 3rd and 4th down, allowed the Broncos to go 3 of 5 in the red zone. Pass rush was quiet, 1 sack, 4 quarterback hits, and Bobby Wagner had an interception. So we have next up the Minnesota Vikings. They have the Cowboys on deck at Dallas. Passing offense is the worst in the NFL. Rushing offense, 20th. Red zone offense ranked 18th. They score touchdowns 54.3% of the time. Third down offense ranked 31st, second worst in the NFL. Passing defense, 30th. Rush defense, 12th. Red zone defense is 3rd. They only allow touchdowns 48.7% of the time. Third down defense, 12th, 37.6% conversion rate for the opposition. Pass rush ranked 18th. Vikings coming off their 4th straight loss, an extremely ugly 26-0 setback at the Seahawks. Noise cancel score is 15-0 Seahawks. Vikings were shut out for the first time since Green Bay beat them 34-0 back on November 11th, 2007. Max Brosmer, 19-30 for 126 yards, no touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I remember this game so well. He became the first player to throw 4 interceptions in his first career start since the great Nathan Peterman. 5 interceptions against the Chargers, November 19, 2017. I remember that game so well. KOC said McCarthy does not have concussion symptoms anymore. He's going to practice fully tomorrow. Hawkinson caught 6 for 59. Justin Jefferson, second highest paid receiver in the NFL, 2 catches for career low 4 yards. Jordan Mason ran 6 times for 47 yards. Offense was just 2 of 12 on 3rd and 4th down, 0 of 1 in the red zone. They finished with just 3.2 yards per play. The defense tried to keep the Vikings in it, held the Seahawks to just 219 total yards, fewest total yards in the game this season. Pass rush had 4 sacks and 5 quarterback hits. Ryan Kelly with a hip flexor, and Aaron Jones with a shoulder injury sustained injuries during the game. Neither is severe, and they're expected to be back this week. And Blake Brandel, a guard, is in concussion protocol, but he's good. He's symptom-free. He's going to play. How? I mean, I didn't realize it until I started talking about this, Troy, but the Vikings are a must bet here. This is, and maybe I'll listen to people in the chat and to you to get me off of this. But how do we not sell the Commanders sky high and buy the Vikings low? Is there a concern that Jaden Daniels might come back? Is that it? Should we wait and decide upon it from there? I'll say it one more time. I don't know if Troy heard it, but psychologically, it's one of my very favorite things to do. Is when a young quarterback playing poorly sits on the sidelines and watches his quarterback play even worse than him. For whatever reason, it changes, and he sees the mistake someone else is making, and he can sort of put it together. It did not help J.J. McCarthy for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure why this works, but watching Sam Darnold succeed just put more pressure on his shoulders. Watching somebody be even worse, I think will help him. Troy Torrence, take it away. Commanders, Vikings.
So we're getting J.J. McCarthy, and is J.J. McCarthy for sure? See, this is
yes. J.J. McCarthy is good to go unless he gets concussed at practice.
Okay, so J.J. McCarthy's in. We still don't know about Jaden Daniels, and that right there just makes me not very interested in betting this game right now because we could see drastic line movement. We already seen some line movement, right? We've seen this line flip. If it was in division, I would already be on the Vikings. It's a little bit different later in the season, non-divisional, so I'm kind of waiting on it. I'm very skeptical about this game because of the quarterback situation. But I start looking at where this game might land and the entire range of this game, and the under profiles extremely well in this spot. And then you start looking at it, both teams' offenses are going to be predicated on running the football. Both defenses' strong suits are defending the run. The Vikings just held the Seahawks to 3.9 yards per carry. The Commanders held the Broncos to 3.8 yards per carry. Both teams should experience enough success to stick with the run, but not abandon it completely, which is a perfect formula for the under. And, you got Flores, and the Vikings defense is great against the passing game. I've cashed 3 consecutive quarterback passing prop unders with Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, Sam Darnold, all taking all of their unders against this Flores defense. They created enough confusion to create stops and limit explosive plays at the same time. And they stiffen up in the red zone. They're third overall in opponent red zone touchdown percentage. And the Commanders' pass defense has significantly improved since Quinn took over. They're not very good. Like, I get it. But you don't need to be very good to limit the Vikings offense and their passing game and their explosive play potential. If this lands anywhere between -2.5 plus 2.5, we're going to have a great profile for the under. I'm looking for the under, and hopefully, Daniels gets announced in so I could take under 43.5.
I'm going to bet. I think I'm just going to bet the Vikings. Maybe we'll get there's no way. I did look into it quite a bit. And it's interesting that Omer is saying that he thinks that he's going to be in. I do not think Jaden Daniels is playing this week. And a lot of the people were saying that if he's coming back at all, it's mid to late December. Why would he come back? He was supposed to be out for 5 weeks. He's been out for what, 3? Or has he been out for 5? He's supposed to be out at least 5 weeks before he returned to practice. Why would he come back for this?
Jaden Daniels has been out for 1, 2. I know he came back for the Seattle game for a little bit, so he's been out 2 weeks. I mean,
it's a 5-week injury. The elbow was supposed to be. I mean, if you look at, you don't want to believe just one site here.
Oh, it is 4 weeks because the bye week.
Okay. The expected return date here was late December. Why would he come back early? I mean, it doesn't make any sense here. Let me check and try.
No, and I think you're right. The line had already flipped.
Here, so, but here it says but this is from some generic site. Reports are suggesting that Daniels could return to the lineup in week 14. Monitor his practice status. I mean, I do not think he's not. I think that's why this flipped back towards the Vikings, because they know. Somebody knows he's not playing. Vincent Hawkins says Quinn will play him, but if would this have come back 4 points if he was going to be in? Not a chance.
So I got the Vikings opening +1, right?
The Vikings, well, again, that's the reason why I've been enjoying talking about the BOL line moves, because I get the look ahead and then the reemergence. And here we go. So this opened up with a look ahead of the Vikings -2.5. And then it came back out at 9:05 p.m. on Sunday with the Vikings -1.5. So there was a 4-point move. Yesterday at 3:30 p.m., you could have got the Vikings +2.5. So do we really think Monday at 3:30 p.m. the Vikings would be 2.5, and Tuesday, 24 hours later, they'd be -1.5 if Jaden Daniels was going to be in, or if there was a chance he was coming in?
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. I think you're on the right page, or you're on the right path.
And then if he's in, obviously, at this point you're making a bet here that I'm gonna get a better line now because he's not going to be announced in. I'm going to sell the Commanders high.
Yeah, this is gonna. If he's out, I feel like this is closing 2.5, 3. So yeah. So,
but then I mean, I'm comfortable betting on injuries, and that's what it is basically. Betting that Jaden Daniels doesn't return. Yeah.
Shit. You're right, Jimmy. You're right, and it's got to be the Vikings, man.
Oh, it has to be. And did you see the numbers? It has to be.
Oh, God.
And did you see the numbers here from our guy AM? From 2017 to 2023, teams following being shut out are 23, 13, and 3 against the spread, 62.8% winning percentage. Because you're buying them so low.
Can you post that profile? That if that's STQL, I'd like to see that, man. because, and I'm looking. So here's what's put me over the edge here. Obviously, we have the flippening, which I do have my reservations about in this type of matchup with the quarterback injuries. Like, I don't know if I would even consider it a flippening. So I don't know exactly how to measure that. But what I will say is I'm looking at the Washington Commanders' recent history, and I know that they've played a gauntlet of great teams, right? The Bears, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Seahawks, the Lions, the Dolphins, the Broncos. But the last 4 games, 3 of the 4 were at home, and the Miami Dolphins was overseas. They haven't played a true road game. Now they're going into Minnesota. Now I don't know how electric. The crowd's going to be electric probably regardless of how good it always is. Mm. So I love that. I love that, man.
Yeah, I think it needs. I mean, this line, the look-ahead line, was with Daniels out of the lineup, right? I mean, this is just simply put. And again,
I'm betting it right now. I'm betting the Vikings on the money line.
But the look-ahead line was with Daniels out of the lineup, and it's pretty much back at that look-ahead line right now. So there's, come on, Daniels not coming back here. I like it. I'm going to move on it too. And if Jaden Daniels comes back, I don't know if we're screwed because Mariota is playing pretty well.
Mariota's played better than Jaden Daniels did this year. Jaden Daniels was not playing well at all the entire season. He's been bad.
This is the buy low, sell high 101 written all over it.
You can get minus 125 right now.
It's worth the bet. This is going to be a tough place to play.
Sign me up. So, yep, money line Vikings minus 126. I'm betting it 3 different books. So, there you go.
I'm joining you on this tonight. Vikings money line here for Troy. Luke says, I don't think there's any need to bet it now, though. You know, it's up to you. I mean, if Jaden Daniels is announced out, it's a 2.5, 3. Probably never hits 3 unless it's going to catch for sure. Unless the sharps are all over it. All right. Okay, let's roll on. I'm going to be betting that after the show. We roll on. Next up here is 1 p.m. Eastern, Miami Dolphins and New York Jets. MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. It's funny. I got so excited about looking at my record in weather-related unders. And I got so excited. And so I hammered all the weather reports for last week for this week. And I found 2 spots where I thought there was going to be inclement weather. I posted them in Discord. I posted them, on X. I sent them to you. I was like, oh, man, these are weather spots we're going to attack. And somebody said to me, I forget, it was when I was talking about it on one of the live streams. Somebody said, you really have faith in these? It sounded like Bebsy from like 5 years ago who just hated when I would give the weather report on a Tuesday. He's like, and someone said in the chat, you really have faith in this weather report you're studying? And I was like, yes. And sure enough, the Lions reemerge, and I crush all of the totals. I beat the Ravens Steelers total by 4.5 points, and I beat this one by 1.5 points, and it has nothing to do with the weather. The weather's going to be fine in both games. It's so embarrassing.
You're right for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. It's so embarrassing. It's very good. I'm very pleased, but I forget who said that comment, but that strange person in the chat was right. But it seems like it'll work out. So I moved on the under 42 a few days ago here in this one. Let's take a look at the line history for Dolphins Jets. 38 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 5 miles per hour. This is not inclement weather at all. But the total is dropping. We'll start with the side, though. From a side perspective here, the Dolphins are -3. The look ahead was -3, -110. It reemerged -3 at +100. It's been down to 2.5 for a while. Now we're back at 3. So from the reemergence, this has moved 7 cents towards it's moved 3 cents towards the Dolphins. From the look ahead, it's moved 7 cents towards the Jets. So we could just say basically it's not moved. Let's take a look at the total here. The total is a 40.5. The look ahead was 41.5 here at this site. At 365, the look ahead was a flat 42. I moved on it. It reemerged at 41. It moved up to 41.5 at first, but then it moved back down to the under. So we have a 40.5. We take a look at the cash flow for Jets, Dolphins. We have 53% of the tickets, 53% of the cash on the Jets, 80% of the tickets on the under, and 86% of the cash on the under. Circa has this at a 40.5. They've dropped it from 42, and they opened it at 42 on the reemerging line. Late on Sunday night. So that's a good sign too. And another good sign was Dennis Garcia commented on it and completely disregarded any weather spot but talked about why he liked it from X's and O's standpoint. WY says he doesn't like Miami in the cold weather. That's a legit situation here. 38 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 5 miles per hour. The Dolphins have the Steelers in Pittsburgh on Monday Night Football on deck. Their passing offense ranked 23rd, rushing offense 13th, red zone offense ranked 25th, and third down offense ranked 22nd. Their defense has been much better. It's funny. Maybe Jalen Phillips didn't want to be there. I don't know. But their defense has been just much better. Let's leave it at that. Passing defense ranked 23rd, rush defense ranked 11th, red zone defense ranked 5th, third down defense ranked 23rd, and this is the league's worst pass rush. But the league's worst pass rush just had 4 sacks and 8 quarterback hits in their 21-17 win at home versus the Saints. Their third straight win, 4th in 5 games. Noise canceled score was 22-15 Dolphins. They won 21-17. Tua Tagovailoa was 12 of 23 for 157 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. That 1 interception is part of his league-leading 14 interceptions. Devon Achane ran 22 times for 134 yards, a touchdown. He's been incredible. Darren Waller led receivers with 2 catches for 47 yards. Dolphins were just 4 of 12 on third down, 0 of 2 in the red zone. The defense held the Saints to 4.3 yards per play, held them to 4 of 12 on third down, but allowed them to go 2 of 2 in the red zone. Pass rush was strong, 4 sacks, 8 quarterback hits. Rasul Douglas had an interception. Minkah Fitzpatrick had a fumble recovery and an interception on a 2-point conversion that he returned for 2 points to clinch the game. Well, it wasn't really clinched because of the onside kick. And they're a pretty healthy group. That's another thing. They're quite healthy. They did lose their fullback, Alec Ingold. He's day-to-day with a shoulder injury, but he could be there. Let's talk about the New York Jets here. Their passing offense is ranked 24th. Rushing offense ranked 22nd. Red zone offense, 53.6% touchdown rate. Third down offense, 23rd. They convert just 37.3% of the time. Pass defense, 27th. Rush defense, 16th. Red zone defense is bad, 20th. Their third down defense is strong. They only allow conversions 35.7% of the time. Their pass rush is ranked 24th. The Jets coming off a 27-24 victory at home over the Falcons. Jets were a fortunate group. We talked about that noise canceled score, much different, 34-18 Falcons. Jets were outgained 389-269 in the victory. Tyrod Taylor was 19-33 for 172 yards and a touchdown. He also ran 8 times for 44 yards and a touchdown. Adonai Mitchell caught 8 for 102 in his first NFL touchdown. No other receiver caught for more than Mason Taylor's 21 yards. I mean, this is not a dangerous offense. Breece Hall ran 19 times for 68 yards, touchdown, caught 2 passes for 8 yards. Jets averaged 4.3 yards per play, but delivered with the game on the line. 8 of 17 on third and fourth down, 2 of 3 in the red zone. The defense bent but didn't break. Held the Falcons to 4 of 12 on third down, but did allow them to go 3 for 3 in the red zone. The pass rush, 2 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. Jets got just their second takeaway of the entire season. Isn't that nuts? Second takeaway of the entire season when Jamal Agnew fumbled a fair catch off McNamara's punt. Stiggers recovered it at the Atlanta 2. Hall ran it up the middle, and there you go. Safety Tony Adams left with a groin injury. He's listed as questionable this week. Take it away for us here, Troy. Dolphins, Jets.
This is why I love the Pub Sports Radio community so much, man. I got to meet Slatsy last Publipalooza, and he just made a difference in my life. You know, this is why the chat, the community is gold. Friends don't let friends break contract, a.k.a. donate to the books. I cannot bet Jets or Jets games in general. It's a bad omen. I always lose. Always. I bet the under in a game that looked primed to go under. Sneaks over the total on some BS. And this is just a spot. I don't even want to say spot. This is a team where I do not want anything to do with the games. Now, if I had to look at this game arbitrarily, I would say the Jets were extremely fortunate to have won. You touched on the noise cancel score. They got beat in both success rate, EPA, and first down conversion rate. They got outgained by 1.5 yards per play. They allowed Atlanta to go 3 for 3 in the red zone. Like this is the type of performance I want to fade the team off a win. Then you look at the other side, the Dolphins win in non-convincing fashion, had a minus 0.20 EPA per play. I didn't watch the game like I mentioned earlier, but the noise cancel score does not look reflective of what the box score suggests. That's one game I would have to dive back into, but I'm not going to because I do not have interest in betting this game. I know better. I've learned from my mistakes. I will not be betting this game. Too much variance.
Well, I'm comfortably on the under. I don't think I need to move on a side. We have seen the Dolphins handle themselves fine in cooler games. We saw them, go up to Buffalo. And it's not that bad. I mean, this is not – I know that we don't ever want to back these teams in cold conditions, but 38 Fahrenheit's not that bad. In saying that, I would only be looking at the Dolphins. But the Jets have a little bit of life, and I could understand not wanting to back them. If there was no contract, which we know there is, would you be leaning towards backing the Jets?
No, I'd be leaning towards backing the Dolphins, but how could you do that? I think they're off what? They're off 3 consecutive wins. This is the first road game in over a month, and it's in non-ideal conditions. I know it's not that bad, but the under does make a lot of sense. But after losing another game where I bet an under in this Jets team, I just don't. The under makes a ton of sense here. A ton of sense.
Yeah, I've got that under 42. The first half under wasn't available. And then I guess when you beat the moves, even just a point and a half, I'm more hesitant to bet that first half under. I don't know why it would be, though. I think maybe I should add that first half under now. But I'm on that under 42. I think you're right. I think the fact that the Dolphins haven't been in a true road situation for a while is a negative. A team that doesn't win on the road. I'll just stick to that under 42 that I have. It's one of only 2 bets that I've made thus far, but I'm going to look at that first half under as well. All right, let's roll on here. We have our next spot on the board. New Orleans Saints 2-10, 1-5 on the road at Tampa Bay Buccaneers 7-5, 3-2 at home at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. 71 Fahrenheit. Mostly sunny, 5-mile-per-hour winds. It is beautiful. Cold in Jacksonville for Jacksonville, but warm in Tampa. Tampa is -9 now. Opened up at 7.5, moved to 8.5 and 9. Johnny, I don't know how you don't back them in the Survivor here. Troy already talked about, getting past that 8.5 into the 9. And, he was talking about the Seattle Atlanta game. He was talking about a road favorite here. So I wonder, does that change at all with a home favorite, Troy?
Well, I'm going to actually be touching on this market, and I think that we're looking at this differently. Let's see what Circa opened this number at. Circa's at 8.5. They opened at 7.5, got up to 9, back to 8.5. Okay. Yeah, the 9.5 does. I do have it included in my sample because it still could land there, but it is definitely different.
The total hasn't moved. Look ahead was 43, reemerged at 42.5. And again, with this spread, we have a 9 at -105 right now. It was 7.5, and then it reemerged at 8.5. 7.5 was the look ahead, reemerged at 8.5. Now we have 8, 9. So, and Johnny, New Orleans did well against Miami. Cashed for us, cashed in the contest, took care of us. Wager Detective got it too. I love it. Let's talk about the cash flow here for this spot. We have 91% of the tickets and 89% of the cash on Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I certainly don't want them at this number. I don't even know if I'd want them at a 5, 4.5. Now it's a 9. What have they done to show that that the Buccaneers can beat anybody by this kind of margin? 80% of tickets on the under, 91% of cash on the under. Start with the Saints. They host the Panthers next. Passing offense ranked 19th, rushing offense 27th. This is the worst red zone offense in the NFL. They score touchdowns 38.7% of their red zone opportunities, even though Shuck looks a little better, and they looked better in the red zone this past week. Third down offense ranked 21st. They convert 37.6% of the time. Passing defense 18th, rush defense 15th. Not a bad defense. I've been saying this all year. Red zone defense, 17th, 56.8% of the time. Their third down defense is 9th. They only allow conversions 36.6% of the time. And pass rush ranked 29th. Dougie Wise says, get Bucky back. That's what they've done. Yeah, Bucky was okay. I mean, his rush yards was at 40.5, and Troy got over that. I mean, 40.5 is not a – he's fine. He's a hell of a running back, but, we'll have to wait and see. The pass rush here for the Saints has improved, continued to improve. This was ranked 32nd for a while this year, now 29th. They come off their second straight loss, 21-17 setback at the Dolphins. Noise canceled score was 22-15 Dolphins. They were down 16-0 at halftime. It was 19-17 with 1 minute and 17 seconds left after Shuck threw that touchdown pass to Devon Valet. Shuck was intercepted by Fitzpatrick on the 2-point try, but then they got the ball back on the onside kick. You see who recovered that onside kick? Charlie Smith, the Gaelic football player from Northern Ireland, making his NFL regular season debut. Is pretty cool. But then Shuck got stopped on 4th and 1. Shuck was 26-38 for 239, 2 touchdowns and interception. He also ran 6 times for 18 yards. He did lose a fumble. Valet had 8 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. Devin Neal ran 14 times for 47 yards, caught 3 passes for 22 yards. Saints were 4 of 12 on third down, 2 of 2 in the red zone. The defense tried to keep the Saints in it, held the Dolphins 4 of 12 on third down, 0 of 2 in the red zone. Pass rush finished with 4 sacks and 6 quarterback hits. I keep saying this every week. Kool-Aid McKinstry is very good in the secondary. Another interception. He's playing well. Now they did possibly lose safety Justin Reed. He left with a knee injury in the first half. He's listed as questionable this week. We'll get a better sense of it on the Wednesday injury report tomorrow. Let's talk about these Buccaneers. They host the Falcons on Thursday Night Football. It's tricky. Playing again 72 hours later in a divisional spot at home. At least they're at home. At least they don't have to travel. Passing offense ranked 21st, 7th ranked rushing offense, 25th ranked red zone offense, third down offense ranked 15th. Very middling statistically. Pass defense 13th, rush defense 17th. Their red zone defense is the 3rd worst in the NFL. They allow touchdowns 69% of the time. Pass rush ranked 9th. Buccaneers snapped their 3-game losing streak with a 2017 victory at home over the Cardinals. Noise canceled score was 2020 tie. Bucs were outgained 386 to 279 in the victory. Baker fought through that AC joint injury to his non-throwing shoulder. He went 18 and 28, 194 yards and a touchdown, ran 6 times for 27 yards. Chris Godwin led receivers with 3 catches for 78 yards, playing his first game since week 4. Bucky Irving returned from injury, 17 carries for 61 yards, touchdown, caught 2 for 20. Offense went 8 of 17 on 3rd and 4th down, 2 of 4 in the red zone. The defense bent but didn't break. 6.3 yards per play. They allowed 6.3 yards per play, but they held the Cards to 3 of 10 on 3rd and 4th down. They did allow the Cards to go 2 of 2 in the red zone. Pass rush finished with 2 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. Antoine Winfield had an interception. Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan are going to begin practicing this week. When they do begin practicing, it does not mean they're going to play. I would imagine we don't even know if they'll play next Thursday. So don't get too excited. I would say. Now, I don't have proof of that, but it's unclear when they're going to be ready for game action. And it's hard to believe with the clavicle injury, Mike Evans is going to be ready right away. Right guard Luke Haggard's shoulder is going to be good to go. He's off the injury report. And cornerback Benjamin Morrison is dealing with a hamstring injury. He didn't play, so this is questionable. Take it away for us here, Troy. It's such a big number. It's screaming for Saints bets, begging for Saints bets. Take it away.
Yeah, so about this market, I'm looking at a sample, right? Home teams in division that open between 7.5 and 9.5 or 6 and 17 ATS. That's 26%. They do win 63% of the time, but that's not good relative to the price that's being laid at the books. If the total is greater than 40, 4 and 15 ATS, that's 21%. Or if you look late in the season to kind of counter what Omer's saying in chat, late in the season, you want to bet on these teams that have something to play for. But if you look at the sample of teams in this price range in division after week 10, it's a 12 and 4 ATS sample in favor of the Saints. And the crazy thing about that is that's 16 of the 23 games in the sample have come after week number 10. So that lends credibility to the sample, in my opinion, and that gives me more confidence in the data that I am looking at and reviewing for this spot. Since week 6, Baker Mayfield has completely fallen off. You just have to call it what it is. It's hard to say because we all love Baker. We all love his fire, but his numbers have fallen off. He hasn't posted a PFF grade above 70 in any game. only one game with a passer rating over 95. His yards per attempt has dropped considerably. The offensive efficiency has pretty much fallen off a cliff as well. I mean, they posted a 41.5% success rate against the Cardinals. The Cardinals finished with a 57% success rates. Looking at down-to-down football, I should probably touch on that. As the years have gone on, I've started to gravitate towards this metric as I find it to be more correlated with down-to-down offense, which is really what I want to evaluate. Like, explosive plays should be evaluated separately. I want to know how good a team is down-to-down. Against the Rams, they had a 27% success rate. Against this very Saints team, the last time they seen each other, they had a 34% success rate against the Saints, whereas the Saints had a 37%. So here's the strongest point about this Bucs defense right now is that when they, the way they play football, I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, they tighten up as that field starts to shrink, as the teams start to cross midfield. The zone blitz starts to be way more effective, and it's just because there's less field to deal with for these DBs, and they're second in the NFL in opponent red zone attempts per game. It's only 2.4. They're tied for second with the Texans. So this defense, although there's a bunch of holes and gaps you can call out with this Bucs defense, that's a very strong metric. Is how often are teams even reaching the red zone and getting in these touchdown scoring opportunities? Not very often. So as the Bucs, and we've seen that last week too, right? What do the Cardinals do in the red zone? As the field shrunk, the Bucs defense stiffens. The Saints, on the other hand, they probably deserve the better outcome looking at, down-to-down football. And I don't want to look and call this out yet, but I look at Shaw's numbers, and I haven't watched much of them. This is definitely one of the next games on my docket that I'm going to watch before Thursday. I'm going to watch this Miami and Saints game, and I was actually talking about it during the Miami game too. This is a game I want to see. He has above average PFF grade in 4 of his 5 starts. A few pretty good passer ratings, being that he's a rookie. But when it's bad, it gets really ugly with this offense. So it's really hard to have confidence in this Saints side because I am on the Saints +9 -115 in this game. But I look at this Bucs offense, I look at the spread, I look at the total, and I find it to be a very appealing spot. To cover this number, the Bucs are going to have to be very efficient in the run game. The Saints' run D is their strong suit. The front seven, the pass rush is progressively been getting better. We've talked about that a few times. And Tyler Shaw, I mean, yeah, he's had some ugly possessions, but I mean, as a rookie quarterback, he's actually performing pretty well. And the market history is on my side, so yeah, I'm on the Saints +9.
Wow, that's wild. When this line came out, I couldn't wrap my head around it. Like it's just such a huge, why would the Bucs, when the Bucs have shown us that they could beat teams by margin? I mean,
they beat this Saints team by 20 on the
week?
road. That was week 8.
Yeah, now I remember that game. Yeah. They're a banged up group right now, and this line was crazy to me. I really thought this was a 6.5. I was shocked by the number. Interesting. Saints +9 -115 for Troy.
I look at their history here, and I see them. I mean, they have had a gauntlet of teams with the Rams, the Bills, and the Patriots. 3 games, and they got Arizona. They only won by 3, but it was pretty damn close to the line. Yeah, I don't know. I think you know how I think of the Saints team. I think they're a bottom 5. I think put them in the bottom 3. I think they've been pretty bad.
I watched the Saints games. I was really confident with them against the Dolphins. And when it was 16-0 at halftime, I didn't bet them live. I mean, I was confident pre-flop, but watching that 16-0, I like Tyler Shuck. I think Tyler Shuck is. There was times, if we go back 3 years, like the ending of his college career, he certainly didn't look very good. But there was times early in his career, with the Ducks, there was times where I thought he was going to be an NFL quarterback, and he's starting to show that again.
Yeah.
Saints +9 -115 here for Troy Torrance. The number is just too big for me. It's too appealing. It's It's like the Bengals at this point. Like I'm like, where you walk into a cave, there's no bear, but there's some junkie smoking rock with a knife. Like I just don't.
I don't see it that way at all. The Bengals and the Saints are not even perceived in the same stratosphere.
Well, no, the reason why I put them in it is because the line is the two line were the most appealing spots on the board when I first looked at them. Like who wouldn't want the Bengals +6 against any team in the NFL right now? Who wouldn't want the Saints +9 in Tampa?
Nobody. I don't know who would. What's the cash flow say? I mean,
cash flow here, 91% of tickets, 89% of cash on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And I got 70-75 on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah. Omar, I did not get lucky. I got lucky that the Saints didn't win outright. Saints could have won outright. There was nothing lucky about them covering.
No, I agree with that. You look at that. I agree with that. I don't care what the noise cancel score says in that game.
I guess you're right. If no one, I mean, WY says I'm the only one. I'm astonished here.
And also, who's not going to have the Bucs? Who's not looking at this saying, "Oh, the Bucs are a perfect team to tease this week"? There's no way they lose. They need this win.
Oh, if this was a 6.5, I'd be on them. 9 just feels like really.
And it's heading that way. I think it definitely closes closer to the 7 than it does the 10.
Yeah, Luke, bro, I see that. I see the 91-89 on Tampa. It's insane to me. Have we been? Is everybody watching the same Buccaneers team? I mean, they just look so pedestrian to me. What are they doing that would inspire any confidence in them? They
get Bucky back. They get Godwin back. I think that people are underestimating how injured Baker Mayfield is.
I'm astonished here but I mean, I get why you're on it. Those are the type of lines that scare me, and maybe I shouldn't let them scare me. But let's Troy's on the Saints +9 -115. I get it.
12-4 ATS after week 10.
Well, I mean, they've looked terrible. I guess the loss at home to the Patriots doesn't look as bad anymore. The loss at the Bills doesn't look as bad anymore. And the Rams, we know that they just got annihilated, and then Baker left the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, Dougie Wise, you cashed with the Bucs on Sunday? Oh, how? Did you pay for a 2.5? Or was it like a money? I mean,
remember it was 2.5 at a certain point in the week.
Wow.
I remember I wanted to back Teddy Bridgewater under a field goal.
Yeah. Nice job, Dougie.
All right. It was 2.5 when we were taught on the show, I believe.
Wow. All right. Top set. Buck knife. That's a pirate life for him. Let's move on to the next spot on the board here. A big one, 1 p.m. Eastern. Indianapolis Colts 8-4, 2-3 on the road at the Jacksonville Jaguars 8-4, 4-2 at home at Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. It's cooler for Jacksonville. I don't remember it being this cold almost ever down there. 62 Fahrenheit, partly sunny, 6 mile per hour winds. Let's talk about the line history here for Colts Jaguars. We have here we go. We have the Colts -1. It's not a real -1. It's -123. The look ahead was -3, and then it closed to -3. It reemerged at -1 after the Colts' lackluster loss at home to the Texans 2016. Opened up -1 at -110. So it's moved 13 cents towards the Colts since it reemerged. From a total standpoint here, we have 47.5. The look ahead was 48. It reemerged 47.5, and there's been no movement. Jim Dewigger on the over 47.5. Let's roll here. Oh, let's take a look at the cash flow. Sorry for Jacksonville, Indianapolis. We have 79% of tickets, 80% of cash on Jacksonville. And we don't have any total information. If we want to use actions total, we have 49% of tickets, 69% of cash on the under. Nobody seems to be. Oh, Circa is. Okay. So Circa's moved it a half point down to 47. divisional game, a lot on the line, outdoors. Let's talk about the Colts. Passing offense ranked 17th, rushing offense ranked 3rd. Red zone offense, nice. Scoring touchdown 65.4% of the time. Third down offense ranked 11th. Getting conversions 40.7% of the time. The problem is being defensively for them. Their pass defense ranked 29th. Rush defense ranked 22nd. Third down defense ranked 27th. Their red zone defense has been strong. They're 9th. They only allow touchdowns 54.4% of the time. Their pass rush 16th. They have the Seahawks at Seattle on deck. Colts coming off a tough 2016 home loss to the Texans. Noise canceled score was 25-23 Texans. Colts have lost 2 straight for the first time this year and 3 of their last 4. Talked about Dennis Garcia building equity on the Colts to miss the playoffs and be doing it for 4 weeks and putting himself in a very advantageous situation. Danny Dimes with the fracture in his leg, lower of the leg, 14-27 for 201 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He looks off, but you know, when you're thinking about it, your subconscious is sort of messing with you when you watch a quarterback. Alec Pierce led receivers with 4 catches for 70 yards, touchdown. Johnny Taylor had an off game, 21 carries for 85 yards, 3 passes for 36. They just couldn't move the sticks with the game on the line. 3 of 12 on 3rd and 4th down, 2 of 4 in the red zone. The defense tried to keep them in it. Finished 6 of 15 on 3rd and 4th down, 2 of 5 in the red zone. Pass rush finished with 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. Cam Bynum had an interception. Sauce Gardner suffered a right calf injury on the 2nd defensive snap. He returned to the sideline in street clothes and a walking boot. They're not considering placing him on IR at the moment. We'll see if that changes. The Jaguars, next week, they host the Jets. We have their passing offense ranked 15th, rushing offense 16th, red zone offense 14th, third down offense 26th, 35.4% conversion rate. Their pass defense is 6th, and their rush defense is 7th. It's a much better defense than I had expected from them. They've hurt me more than any team so far this year, and I guess I should say I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, they're a better team than I've given them credit for. Red zone defense ranked 23rd, third down defense ranked 21st, pass rush ranked 20th. Coming up their 3rd straight win, a comfortable 25-3 victory at the Titans. Noise cancel score is 19-9 Jags. Trevor Lawrence, 16-27 for 229, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also ran 3 times for 25 yards. It's clear he's got a good thing going with Liam Cohen. And we've seen the Buccaneers offense take a huge step back without Liam Cohen. Jacoby Myers, it looks like the number 1. It was a great trade. 6 catches for 90 and a touchdown. Travis Etienne looking like the running back that we've seen for years, doing nothing. 12 carries for 28 yards, caught a 13-yard pass. Jags were 3 of 13 on 3rd down, 2 of 2 in the red zone. The defense completely suffocated the Titans. Jags held them to 3.4 yards per play, held them to 3 of 16 on 3rd and 4th down, 0-1 in the red zone. Pass rush had 3 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. And that was without defensive end Trayvon Walker and tackle Eric Armstead because of injuries. They're both listed as questionable this week. They also did that without guards Patrick McCarry and Chuma Edoga, who were inactive. They're both listed as questionable this week. Wide receiver Patrick Washington hurt a hip in the first half, didn't return. Left tackle Walker Little missed the second half with a concussion. He's in concussion protocol. Cole Van Lanen was better than expected in this place, but maybe it's because of the team they were playing. Take it away for us here, Troy. Colts, Jags.
Yeah, I knew I was going to be betting this as soon as I seen the opening line and the Jaguars open as a short home dog. Actually, I probably would have been betting this regardless of the market. This is a situation where I'm going to be fading the Jaguars 100% of the time. But the history of this market is extremely bullish. Short opening home dogs in division do not perform well. And even more so when you look at the money line cash flow in this spot and see all the action coming in on the Colts. It's a very bullish thing. So immediately, I'm very biased towards the Colts. So you should know that right off the top. You know, I expected the Colts last week to close 3.5 or higher. I talked about with a lot of people, a lot of discourse about how I was very unsatisfied with where that line was closing last week at the 3. And that's why I added the under. Because I thought there was a lot of correlation between the Texans and the under, and also the Colts and the under. Like there's a lot of avenues to cash the under with the script for both teams. And obviously one of my biggest bets last week was the Jaguars team total under, and they continue to defy the noise adjusted score. Last week, the noise adjusted score is 19-9. I can go down to like 5-6 weeks in a row of how the Jags have just been getting just way overperforming expectations. They got gifted 11 points last week from penalties alone. I talked about them. The roughing the kicker that led to a touchdown on 4th down and 10 yards. They roughed the kicker on a roughing the passer on 3rd down, leads to 3 points, and the encroachment adds a point to the total. It's just a perfect in my opinion, buy low and sell high situation on the Colts. Colts losing 3 of their last 4 games, 2 games on the road, 1 overseas, 1 at home. The Jags winning 4 of the last 5 games versus very easy competition. Tennessee, Arizona, Chargers, Houston, and Las Vegas. More than anything, this is more of a fade of the Jaguars. I want to fade Trevor Lawrence in this Jaguars offense. Here's Trevor Lawrence. I don't want to sound like a broken record. I've read these numbers a few times. I didn't read them last week because I didn't want a broken record, but I have to bring them up here because I'm really thinking about I have bad intentions in this game. Trevor Lawrence, passer rating, 81.6. That's 3rd worst in the NFL. Completion rate, 59%. That's 3rd worst in the NFL. Turnover worthy play rate, 4.1%. That's 3rd worst in the NFL. Everywhere around him is a guy named Geno Smith. And if you watch these two play, they're almost identical type of players. If their first read is not there, they're incapable of being productive. They cannot move on to their second read. They get stuck. They're deer in headlights when when it does not go as planned. There's no ad hoc ability with Trevor Lawrence. This offense averaged a 37.5% success rate against the Titans and a 38% success rate against the Cardinals. And they're still putting up over 24 points. I think it's a sign of, it's not going to happen. That's going to happen against teams like the Cardinals and the Titans. It's not going to happen against a team like the Colts. I feel like the Colts defense is primed to produce better results, even though they lost Sauce Gardner. The Jaguars defense, on this side of the spectrum, you get a huge range of potential outcomes because if you look at the resume, they have great performances, holding the Seahawks to 20, the Chargers to 6, or just two of their greatest performances of the season. Then they have terrible performances like they did against the Cardinals, like they did against Mills and the Texans, the Chiefs, the Bengals with Browning. All those guys were highly successful against this Jaguars defense. The Colts just faced a significantly better defense and put up a 42% success rate, slightly below average. I feel like we're going to move that number well north of 45% in this game. And now they get the Jags defense, and we're going to see a lot of cover 3. This is the most there is disguise, pretty decent disguise too, because there's different ways to play cover 3, buzz, cloud. You can just go down the list. There's so many. I think that their strongest suit is when they have the safety guard, defending the flats. But the Jags have proven that they are susceptible against good rushing attacks as well. The Titans average 5 yards per carry. The Texans average 6 yards per carry. I feel like they're going to struggle mightily if they're not going to be able to pressure the quarterback. And the Colts are second to pass block. I know he's not very mobile, but if you look at Daniel Jones, and somebody brought this up earlier, they were asking about Daniel Jones' health. And I pulled up his last game, and I know that he did look a bit hobbled. They're not running RPO as much, and it definitely takes a feather out of their caps offensively. But he did, have 7.4 yards per attempt. Show me another quarterback against the Houston Texans that averaged 7.5 yards per attempt. He posted an 84 PFF grade. No other quarterback posted that big of a PFF grade against this team. He had 101 passer rating. It's pretty damn good against the Texans. I feel like I get it. Like, the Colts are not the team we thought they were. And I was on the fade train. I was fading this team as well. They're not as good as the team that started 7-1. They're not as bad as the team that lost 3 of the last 4. They're somewhere in the middle. But in any case, they're better than this Jaguars team that's been overperforming all season long. Jags off 3 consecutive wins versus bad teams, opening as short home dogs in division. Terrible spot. And the Colts coming off 2 consecutive losses against inferior opponent. The Jags one-dimensional offense. Trevor Lawrence is inept as a quarterback. I'm on the Colts money line, and we'll see where this goes throughout the week because this might be a spot for me.
So what do you have right now with the Colts?
Money line minus 125.
So my problem here goes beyond me getting burnt by the Jaguars. So touch on this. The Jaguars have had 1 home game since October 12th.
And they smoked them.
1 home game since October 12th. 1. That's it. So the statistical profile is not in, perfect conditions.
That's a good point.
And it just so first off, I know I'm getting burnt by a football team. Okay. I know I'm getting burnt by a football team. And then I have a statistical profile of the Jaguars, whom I don't like, who I think have been getting lucky and all that, and have been hurting me, where they haven't been in pristine home conditions either. And if this was the opposite, if the Jaguars had only had one road game since October 12th, and they're going on the road, we would be all over fading them. So that's my concern. It's not only am I misjudging or reading poorly the skill set of this Jaguars team, possibly, but we're not seeing them in good conditions. Shout out to my guy Spenny Penny Bombs in the house. So that's my concern, and I think it's valid. I don't want the Jaguars. I don't want the Jaguars after beating up on the Titans. Now I would like the Colts after playing against a very good football team, the Texans, but it also might have taken something out of them. The Texans are a mean group of football players. So Colts minus 125 here for Troy. Is there anything you want to touch on? Do you want to touch on that at all, or are you ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
Troy on the Colts minus 125 here on the money line. We move on to the next spot on the board. 1 p.m. Eastern. Pittsburgh Steelers 6-6, 2-3 on the road. Baltimore Ravens 6-6, 3-4 at home at M&T Bank Stadium, Baltimore, Maryland. It's very I don't know what to say about it. I should be sitting here feeling so good about getting everybody on the under 47.5. It just didn't happen the way I thought it would. And these were unit and a half bets on those two look ahead lines that I wanted. But I thought there would be real inclement weather. I've now beaten this line by 5 points, Troy. Insane. I told everybody to get on it too. I pushed it, and I was hitting it hard in the Discord, on X, with you guys on all the live streams. The look ahead was 47.5. It got bet down to 46.5 before it left. It reemerged at 45.5. Now it's 42.5.
Oh, nice. No, I'm starting to get the CLV. Not versus you, obviously.
When did you move on it?
I posted it this morning.
Oh, wow. I thought you joined me on the 47.5.
I wish.
Wow. Okay. So down to 42.5. It's a good spot. From a point spread standpoint here, we have where the hell is it? We have Baltimore -6 at -107. It's a strange spot. Buy low for both teams. Look ahead was 6.5, closed at 6.5, reemerged at 6.5, got down to 5.5. It was a 5.5 yesterday from 12:30 p.m. till 8 this morning. Now we're back at 6. Interesting to see where this closes. I think the Steelers are broken. And so maybe this is a simple Ravens double result. Maybe you want to wait here until we make sure that it doesn't close at a 5 or 4.5 or anything like that. Mark Staszowski says this is where Pittsburgh defense wins a game. Wager Detective on the other side with the -6. So is Tummy didn't just say that also on the Ravens -6. Let's talk about it. Steelers host the Dolphins on Monday Night Football here. Passing offense ranked 29th. Rushing offense ranked 21st. Red zone offense ranked 5th. Third down offense ranked 14th. 5150 LeBron. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Pass defense for the Steelers ranked 17th. Rush defense 13th. Red zone defense 10th. Third down defense 28th. Steelers allow conversions 43.6% of the time. And the pass rush is ranked 3rd. Steelers coming off a disastrous 26-7 loss at home to the Bills. Noise cancel score was 22-8 Bills. Steelers have dropped 5 of 7 since that 4-1 start. Buffalo gashed the Steelers on the ground for 249 yards. 249 yards. Now, this Ravens rush offense, even with Patrick Ricard back, is not the Ravens rush offense that we have a vividness bias of. They're ranked 24th according to Pro Football Focus. Mr. Heat in the house. Great to see you. So this is what TJ Watt said. He said, I've never seen a team run the same play as much as they ran it tonight and have as much success as they have.
Yes.
That's what he said. He also said, I'm at a loss for words, but he didn't say it quite like that. He doesn't have Doesn't have a way with words. The Steelers were outgained 372 to 166. Steelers had just 10 first downs in the game. Bills had 26. Bills completely dominated time of possession with that running attack, 41-59 to just 18-01. Aaron Rodgers was 10 of 21 for 117 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Also lost a fumble. Darnell Washington, what a beast he is. You'd think he'd be used more. He's a giant. Led receivers with 2 catches for 45 yards. Jalen Warren ran 10 times for 35 yards. Touchdown, caught 2 for 9. Steelers were 3 of 10 on 3rd and 4th down, 1 of 2 in the red zone. The defense looked soft. Bills were 10 of 17 on 3rd and 4th down, 2 of 4 in the red zone. Pass rush was completely invisible against the Bills' offensive line without 2 starters. The Steelers had 0 sacks and 1 quarterback hit. Brandon Eccles had an interception. Patrick Queen left late in the first half with a right hip injury, did not return. He's dealing with a lower back bruise. He's listed as questionable. Quarterback James Pierre is in concussion protocol. And 2025 first-round pick Derek Harmon has already been ruled out. So he's going to miss his 2nd straight game. And he was clearly not available in the last one. Let's talk about the Ravens. Passing offense ranked 27th. The Ravens traveled to Cincinnati next Sunday in a huge, huge game. Huge game for them. Is it a possible look ahead? Rushing offense ranked 24th. Red zone offense ranked 30th. Third down offense ranked 20th. Can you believe how bad this offense is this late in the year? Crazy. Pass defense ranked 10th. Rush defense ranked 10th. Third down defense ranked 10th. Red zone defense ranked 6th. And pass rush ranked 30th. So other than the pass rush, the defense has really come together after the Gilman pickup. We've talked all about that. The Ravens coming off extra rest and prep after an ugly 32-14 victory. After an ugly 32-14 loss at home on Thanksgiving Thursday to the Bengals. Noise cancel scores 26-17, Bengals. Baltimore lost 3 fumbles in the first half and turned the ball over 5 times in the game. All 5 of them were on passing plays. 2 fumbles, an interception by Jackson, fumble by Isaiah Likely, and a fumble by Zay Flowers. Lamar Jackson was 17 of 32 for 246 yards, no touchdowns, interception. The last time a team turned the ball over 5 times, we hammered them. And it was the Patriots in week, 4 or 5?
Yeah, week 4.
Week 4. And I want to do it again. I want to do it again here. But the problem is that you're selling the Steelers so low. But
I know.
I can get over that. Lamar Jackson was 17 of 32 for 246 yards, no touchdowns in the pick. He ran 6 for 27 and, of course, was responsible for 2 of the fumbles. Isaiah Likely was responsible for 1 of the fumbles, but he did catch 5 passes for 95 yards. Derrick Henry ran 10 for 60 and a touchdown, caught a 44-yard pass. The Ravens averaged 6.1 yards per play. The Bengals only averaged 4.8, but the turnovers did them in. Baltimore 3 of 10 on 3rd, 1 of 2 in the red zone. Bengals dominated time of possession. The turnovers were a part of that, 38-46, 21-14. The Ravens defense tried to keep them in it. They held the Bengals to 1 of 6 in the red zone. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that. Pass rush finished with 1 sack. Just 1 sack, but did have 7 quarterback hits. It wasn't like they weren't menacing. Baltimore did not have cornerback Nate Wiggins in the second half. That hurt a lot. Wiggins is day-to-day. They put Justice Hill on IR before the game with a disc issue. He's going to be back for the end of the season. Leonard Welsh on the under 43.5. I get it. I'm sitting here with this under 47.5. Maybe I just do nothing, but Ravens double result. Ravens with the extra rest and prep time. Are you worried about a look-ahead spot? Take it away.
A look-ahead spot in this game?
Yeah.
The last week for both these teams might have been the look-ahead spot.
You don't think the Ravens have their eyes on Cincy at all?
No. Well, it's hard to say that after losing outright, embarrassing fashion at home. But they got the Steelers. Who's right on their ass in division? It's the Steelers. First of all, the under profile is absolutely amazing in this game. Totals that close 43.5 after a move to the under 63% since 2022. In division, that only makes the profile significantly better. And there's about 5 or 6 profiles that actually overwhelmingly favor the under in this spot, but we're also sitting right around that 6 number, which is going to make this very difficult for me. I'm not going to be on a side today, but I will likely have a side because that 6 is so influential in what the bookies choose to do, moving it above or below that number. And I talked about this a little bit already, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but for those of you that haven't heard me before, I shit on this Ravens offense last Tuesday because they've been completely different. We talked about the vividness bias we've had at this rushing game and this Ravens offense, generally speaking. Well, let's go back. 5 games. I'm going to say the team name and the success rate they posted in that game. The Dolphins, 46%. The Vikings, 45%. The Browns, 44%. The Jets, 35%. And the Bengals, 37%. Minus 0.37 EPA per play. That is terrible. That is a terrible look for this Ravens offense. And I look at Lamar Jackson. I wonder how healthy he is. His ADOT is a career low. The designed runs descended to 0. Now, he did have a few last week, but still his designed runs are way down year over year. His PFF grade is a career low. Something's not right with Lamar Jackson. You can clearly see it. You can see the frustration. It's visible. It's on his face. He's wearing it. The defense, however, on the other side. So the Ravens offense is stifled. Now the Ravens defense, which everyone thought was trash in the beginning of the year, we made a case about Malachi Starks, Nate Wiggins developing as young defensive players in the secondary. Kyle Hamilton, his new role is on the defense. They've been awesome. They're just continuing on. So I talk about how bad the success rate is for the offense. It's just as good on the other side, vice versa for the defense. And on the other hand, you got the Steelers, who we've cashed. Jimmy, I've cashed in Steelers games 7 weeks in a row on both the side and the total. I've not gotten it wrong. 7 weeks in a row. The common theme in Steelers games is fading the public. And based on the book that I track, the numbers I track in my market efficiency database, the public is back on the Steelers, which is definitely a different situation than we've seen before because of how these teams are optically right now. But the offense is completely underwhelming. They have no ability to create explosive plays. The only explosive play receiver they have is DK Metcalf. They have a quarterback in either scenario. You look at Rodgers or Mason Rudolph, who lacks arm strength. They lack mobility. An O-line and scheme that can't find success against the Bills' run defense. They average 3.2 yards per carry. And then you look at the defense. I mean, it's great on paper, but not in practice. They allowed the Bills to go 50% success rate plus 0.26 EPA per play. James Cook ran the ball down their throat. When you can run the ball on Pitt, you completely take away the pass rush. So, I mean, that's definitely going to be – I thought that would be the path of least resistance for the Ravens last week against the Bengals, but they chose not to do that. They chose to drop Lamar Jackson back over and over, and he could not find success. And it reminds me of so many times with Todd Monken where we've seen this happen, where he might, get stopped, get stuffed, get tackled for a loss on one of his runs, and he abandons it. Sign of a bad offensive coordinator. I think that has a lot to do with this right now. So I want to be all over the Ravens in this matchup. I can't do that right now because of the market, and I don't know exactly what side I'm going to be on in this game, but I know that the market is going to be extremely efficient in this game. So I will have action down. We just have to see where we land.
And I imagine that for me, that action, I mean, unless it's closes at 7 or something, I imagine it'll just be a simple double result on the Ravens. I mean, are you thinking of doing more than that? I guess like a money line parlay.
Yeah, like a money line parlay teaser of some nature. I'm really liking getting the 5 extra cents on these lines that you tease through 0 at some of these offshore books. I think it offers incredible amounts of value.
Okay, so sorry, what was the number that you got for the notes?
43 and a half. 43 and a half.
Yeah. So I'm interested. Again, I'm with Troy. I want to see where this closes. I imagine that just the double result would be the addition, but with where I'm standing, it's a pretty good spot. Man Bear Pig liking that double result with the Ravens. A big happy birthday to Mr. Heat in the house. Happy birthday, Mr. Heat. Thank you for spending some of it with us on Bankroll Blitz. Hope it's been a great birthday. I hope we got some winners here for you to cash with. Happy birthday, Mr. Heat. And Jared TG's birthday yesterday. That's great. Mr. Heat 44, Jared TG turning 32. Happy birthday to both you guys, man. Thankful to cap with you guys. Happy birthday, Mr. Heat, Jared TG. We roll on. Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern, Denver Broncos 10-2, 4-2 on the road at the Las Vegas Raiders 2-10, 1-5 at home at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Denver is, well, we'll start with the look ahead. The look ahead was 8, reemerged at 7.5. Since it reemerged, there's been a 10-cent move to the Raiders from -110 to minus 120. From a total side of things here, we have a 40.5. It opened up at 39, or the look ahead was 39.5, reemerged at 40.5, got up to 41 yesterday morning, and that only lasted 41 minutes before it went back to 40.5. So it's moved 3 cents from the reemergence. Take a look at the cash flow here for this one. We don't have any information on the total. I'll bring up a different site for that. 50% of the tickets on Denver. Interesting that this would be a 50-50 spot here right now. 50-50, but 65% of the cash on Denver. Also, the book that is making Denver the most expensive is arguably the sharpest, Circa. Circa hanging the -8. They have 78% of the tickets and 60% of the cash on Las Vegas, and they're just leaving it at 8. So something to keep an eye on. And then to get information on the total, I'll switch to Action. Again, we don't trust it that much. But here they tell us that 64% of the tickets are on the over and 59% of the cash is on the over. Let's set this one up. Broncos host the Packers next here. Passing offense for the Broncos ranked 14th. Rushing offense ranked 15th. Red zone offense ranked 15th. They score touchdowns 58.5% of the time. Their third down offense 17th. They convert 39.3% of the time. Very pedestrian, average offense. They are a 10-win team. I've already cashed the over 9.5 wins. If you guys remember the future show, I was trying not to bet any of these public spots. And I'll say, okay, I'm only going to bet one very public team total over, and that was the Broncos over 9.5. Pass defense ranked 12th. Rush defense ranked 6th. Red zone defense ranked 1st. They only allow touchdowns 39.4% of the time. Third down offense ranked 1st. They only allow conversions 30.8% of the time. Their pass rush ranked 12th. Spenny Pennybaum says going to probably take Franklin receiving yards in this one. Vincent Hawkins on Raiders team total under first half. And we have our guy, Dougie Y says, guys, am I crazy? I think the Raiders are the side. I mean, it certainly feels like it's the sharp action. I'm very interested. I think we should keep an eye on what Circuit does with this number as they're hanging the most expensive number on the Broncos. They're opening up there. I'm saying anyone betting that +8, but sharp offshores have moved it, as I said, down to 7.5. You can get the 7.5 on the Broncos at +100. Broncos coming up their 9th straight win. Tough 27-26 overtime victory of the Commanders. Noise canceled scores 27-27. They're now 8-2 in one-score games. Bo Nix was 29-45 for 321 yards, touchdown and a pick. Evan Engram led receivers with 6 catches for 79 yards. Cortland Sutton had 5 catches for 62 and a touchdown. And R.J. Harvey led a lackluster run game with 13 carries for 35 yards. I mean, he did punch it in twice. The offense averaged 5.8 yards per play. 8 of 16 on third down, 3 of 5 in the red zone. The defense did not look very good. They allowed the Commanders with their backup quarterback to go 11 of 20 on third and fourth down, 3 of 5 in the red zone, and put up 419 total yards. This pass rush that's on pace to break the single season sack record is ranked now just 12th. I mean, it's getting worse. The PFF rankings are getting worse. Did have 2 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. Dre Greenlaw had an interception. Niners fans missing him. Defensive tackle DJ Jones hurt his shoulder during the game. He's listed as questionable this week. Let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders. They here have the Eagles on deck at Philadelphia. Passing offense ranked 28th. Rushing offense ranked 30th. Red zone offense ranked 22nd. And their third down offense ranked 25th. They only convert 35.6% of the time. Their passing defense is the 2nd worst in the NFL. Their rush defense is the 5th worst in the NFL. Red zone defense ranked 22nd. They allow touchdowns 59.6% of the time. Their third down defense is the 3rd worst in the NFL, 45.9%. Their pass rush is ranked 23rd. Raiders coming off their 6th straight loss, a very ugly 31-14 setback at the Chargers. Noise canceled score was 29-15 Chargers. The Raiders were outgained 341-156. Geno Smith was 18-23 for 165 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Brock Bowers led receivers with 4 catches for 63 yards and 2 touchdowns, but Ashton Genty had a tough game, man. 15 carries for just 31 yards. He did catch 6 passes for 30 yards, but the offense was horrific. 3.4 yards per play, 2 of 10 on third and fourth down. They did manage to go 2 of 2 in the red zone. It was the Raiders' first game under interim offensive coordinator Greg Olson after Chip Kelly was fired a week ago. The defense couldn't get stops. Chargers went 12 of 17 on third down, 3 of 5 in the red zone. Max Crosby is the beast, man. 9 tackles, 4 loss, and 2 sacks. The rest of the pass rush had 1 sack and 2 quarterback hits. And he absolutely annihilated Herbert. just out of anger. Kyle Blue Kelly had an interception. Wide receiver Dante Thornton Jr. was ruled out with a concussion in the second half. He is in protocol. The way I see this spot is that the Broncos are a team that is not as good as their record indicates, and we can take advantage of that, generally speaking. But can we take advantage of that when they look so bad against the Commanders? And the answer is no. I think that you want to fade the Broncos after they look great, not after the public sees how bad they probably really are. The Raiders are a horrific outfit. I cannot find situations where they succeed. And if we go down their game-by-game sample, you will see the spots where they cover. And, would you say in division is one of them? Well, you can't, unfortunately, say in division because we've seen them absolutely lay eggs. I mean, the Chiefs are a 500 team, and the Chiefs beat them 31-0 at home. We look at the spots where they have managed to menace, and we'll go over them here. They did not cover last week. They did not cover at home against the Browns or the Cowboys, but they covered at Denver. They covered against this Denver team. Denver only beat them 10-7. Well, that tells me that, especially after what the Broncos just did, barely getting past a weak Commanders squad, means they probably don't take LA lightly. They covered at home against Jacksonville. Should have won that game 30-29. In their other divisional games, they didn't cover against the Chargers at home in week 2. They got destroyed by Kansas City 31-0. I don't want the Broncos under any situation. And I can't bet the Raiders. Dougie Wise says this Raiders O-line is beyond horrific. Topset says Raiders organization is the problem. Jake says that he can never bet the Raiders against the spread again after watching their recent performance. Spenny Pennybomb says Genty has talent. The offense in general stinks. O-line gives him no room. And Spenny Pennybomb says Bauer's over, probably good again. And Doug White says, is this the worst Raiders team in the last 20 years? Very possibly. I don't want to be involved in this football game. So then from a side perspective, if there is no interest at all, would you then just look at the total? This total climbing up from 39.5. I think it opened at the right number. I understand why it's moving towards the over. But sidewise, I don't want to fade the Broncos against a team that already gave them hell at home in Denver, coming off a very subpar football game. And I don't ever want to back the Broncos. So it's put myself in a situation where it's difficult to bet anything. Troy Torrance, Broncos, Raiders, Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, Nevada. Do you have any interest?
This is a game I do not have interest in. Let me scroll down here. Let me get reset here. I'm kind of running into some bad times over here, Jimmy the Bag. But yeah, the last time these two teams played, I doubled up on the Raiders. Things have changed significantly since that point. Not from the Broncos side. They're still at the top of my fade list. Is Mel in the chat? She's probably talking shit about Bo Nix still. And luckily they won last night because it's going to give us opportunities to continue to fade this team. I just don't think it's in this spot. The Raiders have really replaced the Titans as unbettable. You can't bet against them. They're simply priced too low in the marketplace. The fair market value is way lopsided. You can't bet on them because they're incapable of putting up productive efforts. Three consecutive weeks, really. If this was a primetime game, maybe that would change because, at least we could check some of the motivational boxes, buy low, in division, on primetime, but that's not the case. Road teams in this division that open in this price range after week 10, they win the game 100% of the entire sample every time. They only covered 50%, but they win every time. So tease them, right? Not for me. This Broncos team should not be this heavy of a favorite, in my opinion. I know the Raiders are the worst team in the league, but they match up well, like I talked about in that matchup with the Raiders Broncos in the first one. What's their strong suit? It's their front seven and defending the run and tackling. If you take that away from Bo Nix in this offense, they're trash. Then they play cover 3 behind it, which we know Bo Nix, it's a nightmare for Bo Nix. So yeah, I'm passing on this game.
Yeah, I do agree with. I think it was Donut saying it that. Go back here. Oh yeah, that because of the rivalry, because of the in-division situation, you might, and also because of the 10-7 first game, and coming off of that the Broncos may lay the wood, and may show out a little bit for the bad football. They're not bad. They're 10-2. Look, but for a suspect 10-2 football team here. So let's roll on. Troy, I know that you have Tatum on your own right now, so no pressure at all if you need to leave quickly or anything like that as we roll through these last games. And
so it was a little bit of a weird situation. My wife, she works tonight, and my son is sick. So the babysitter that we had planned did not want him, and that pissed me off. But yeah, the only game I really have strong notes on would be the Packers-Bears game. If that's next up, that'd be great. And then
that is next up.
I hate to leave early, man. I really do.
Hey, do whatever you need to do, my man. Don't worry about a thing. Let's roll into that spot. 4:25 p.m. Eastern. The Chicago Bears 9-3, 5-2 on the road at the Green Bay Packers 8-3-1, 4-2 at home. Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. This is the coldest game of the year thus far. 17 Fahrenheit at kickoff. Partly sunny with very little wind, just 3-mile-per-hour winds. Let's get into the line history here for Bears Packers. We have this total at 44.5. It opened up at 40, or the look at was 45.5, opened up at 44.5 when it reemerged, got up to 46. This was a 46, 1:30 a.m. on Monday, early Monday morning. Now we're down to a 44.5. So it's and I get why. There's so much on the line here in this football game. From a point spread perspective, we have Green Bay minus 6.5. You got to love these 6.5 openers. So the look at was 6.5, and then reemerged at 5.5. And the 5.5 lasted for about 15 hours. And it moved to a 6.5, which is where it is. Now it's juiced towards Green Bay, which tells us a 7 may be on the way. Well, this makes it easy. We know how successful we've been when lines open up at this number. Now, in saying that, I should really stress that the success is when it goes down to 5.5 and 5. Now it could be different for Troy, but I have not garnered a ton of success on the 6.5 and the 7s. And maybe that is just a smaller sample size because I now dream of the dog going from 6.5 to 5.5 to 5. And so maybe that's a sample size issue, and Troy can touch on that. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. We have 79% of the tickets on Chicago public, just 62% of cash on them, which tells us that this move towards the Packers is very strong. 71% of tickets on the over and 77% of cash on that over. Let's start with the Chicago Bears. Passing offense ranked 20th. Rushing offense now ranked 4th in the NFL. Good God, is Ben Johnson a wizard? Red zone offense 15th. They score touchdowns 58.5% of the time. Their third down offense is 6th. They convert 43.9% of the time. Pass defense ranked 22nd. Rush defense ranked 24th. Red zone defense, they allow touchdowns 61% of the time. Third down defense is 7th. They only allow conversions 26.2% of the time. And this is a weak pass rush, ranked 28th. Shout out to our guy, Gerald Jones, in the house. What up, Gerald? Bears coming off extra rest and prep after a 24-15 victory at Philadelphia. Now, obviously, the Packers come in with extra rest and prep after their impressive victory on Thanksgiving against the Detroit Lions. So we have that situation. Obviously, the Bears have extra rest and prep, but not as much as the Packers. Noise cancel score is 27-17 Bears. The Bears are all alone in first place in the NFC North. Good God, is Ben Johnson good at what he does? Caleb Williams, 17-36 for 154 yards, touchdown, and a pick. The Bears ran 47 times for 281 yards. Mononge ran 22 times for 130 yards. DeAndre Swift ran 18 times for 125 yards. The Bears had 2 players top 100 yards rushing in the game for the first time since 1985. Walter Payton and Matt Suey. That helped them dominate time of possession, 39-18 to 20-42. Cole Kmet led receivers with 3 catches for 36 yards, a touchdown. Bears went 10-17 on third down, 2 of 3 in the red zone. The Bears defense bent but didn't break. They allowed the Eagles to put up 6.8 yards per play, but held them to 4 of 12 on third down, 1 of 2 in the red zone. Pass rush was quiet. 0 sacks, 1 quarterback hit, but the defense looked strong throughout, and Kevin Byard had an interception. The Green Bay Packers passing offense ranked 2nd. Rushing offense ranked 17th. Red zone offense ranked 3rd, and third down offense ranked 1st. This is the 3rd ranked pass defense as well. Rush defense 14th. Red zone defense 21st. Third down defense just 17th. So some middling statistics, but a very good defense overall. Pass rush ranked 4th in the NFL. Micah was up to his old tricks. 2.5 sacks. 5th straight year with 12 sacks or more. He's a beast. Packers come in off extra rest and prep after that impressive 31-24 victory at Detroit on Thanksgiving. 8-3-1. They swept the season series with the Lions, so they hold the tiebreaker in the NFC North. They're in 2nd place behind Chicago. Noise-canceled score was closer, 30-28 Packers. Jordan Love was excellent. 18 of 30 for 234 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. The offensive line did not allow Love to get sacked. Dontavian Wicks caught 6 for 94 and 2 touchdowns. Christian Watson caught 4 for 80 and a touchdown. Josh Jacobs ran 17 for 83 yards, caught an 8-yard pass. 2 for 2, perfect in the red zone. The Packers won the game on 4th down. They were a perfect 3 for 3. They held the Lions to 0-2 on 4th. They did struggle containing the Lions on 3rd. They allowed them to go 8 of 13. Micah Parsons, 8 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 4 quarterback hits. But they lose defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt for the remainder of the season. That is a big loss. Keyshawn Nixon was active after leaving last week's game with a neck injury. Lucas Van Ness, though, was spotted in a walking boot on Monday. He's listed as questionable. Matthew Golden, Quay Walker, Nate Hobbs were inactive. All 3 are listed as questionable. We got Big Tatum in the house. It's great to see you, Big Tatum. Big Tatum. Troy, your dad, Troy, is talking about a huge, huge game in the NFC North at Lambeau Field. Take it away, my man.
Yeah, so this is his little first time. I wish I had his Bankroll Blitz tee that Uncle Faber got for him. Daddy. Yeah, you see Daddy and Jimmy. Say hello. Say hello.
What's up, Big Tatum?
So this is a spot idea. I definitely wanted to touch on this before I wrapped it up, and I'm gonna have to go after this one. But I appreciate you, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to fulfill my obligation. Want to go back and wash your cars? So I'm gonna do my best to just give my opinions on this game.
Cool.
So you have this might be a little more difficult than I thought. Yeah, of course he invades my room at the perfect time. I'm gonna see if I can get him back laying down, man. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Did you actually move on this game though, and we could take it from there?
I did not move on this game. I'm sorry, man. We'll have to catch back up, Jim.
All right, no worries. No worries.
Guys, I'm sorry.
No worries.
I'm sorry, boys.
No worries. Nothing to apologize for. This is life, my man. This is life. No worries. I think that this under here is very live. Very, very live. Let's just take a second look at it. The move over here. We have a 44.5 juice to the under. The lookout was 45.5. It's been bouncing around the 44.5 and the 45.5 number. Unfortunately, in the market efficiency database of Troy's, the 44.5, 45, 45.5, they tend to go over at a high percentage. You need to get under that 43.5 in the database. So do we want to wait before we see a move to the under? We also have 71% of tickets on the over and 77% of cash on that over. I'm not entirely sure why that would be, why the gamblers would want it so badly. Let's just quickly take a look at the home games the Packers have played, especially as it's gotten cooler. But if we don't find any games or many games that have gotten near that number with the Packers at home, I will have to wait to see if it continues to drop. I don't think we can just have this all predicated on the fact that this is a playoff type game with extreme high intensity. So here's the first problem that would jump out at me, when I'm looking at this total. We have not had a home game. Well, we had one against the Bengals, 27-18 go over, and then one at home against the Commanders, week 2 go over. All these other games are going way under. The Vikings game had 29 points. The Eagles game had 17 points, and the Carolina Panthers game had 29 points. So why on earth would this have a look at 45.5 and then open up a 44.5? It doesn't make sense to me. So I would like to see a sign from this market. For an under better, you have success when cappers are looking one way at a total and it's put at a number where you think, oh, they want overaction. Well, here, if you have not had a home game in Green Bay in cold weather go over 29 points, why would this open up at 44.5? And, what did the Bears just do? They just played a 39-point game at Philadelphia. So the line makes me extremely uncomfortable. I would rather, if this was a lower number at 42.5, or if this was sitting at 43.5, I'd bet it right now. So I have interest in the under, but when it starts feeling easy, I get uncomfortable. And we have 3 a.m. Ghost on the Bears first half and the Bears full game. Vincent Hawkins on the Bears team total under in the first half. Look, it just doesn't make sense. Donut Silk says both teams did put up points last week. I mean, I cashed the Chicago-Philadelphia first half under and full game under like it was nothing. I mean, I think let's use that as the comparison. I was very confident in that under. It landed around this exact same number. So let's go to it right now. The Bears game here. Sorry, where is it? The Bears game on week 13. Why doesn't that give it? Here we go. It closed at 43. There's a good example. They had to look ahead at 45. Then it reemerged. And it was even getting bet down. This got bet down to 43.5. It came back to 44, but it got bet down to 43.5, closed at 44. Reemerged at 44. It had the same sort of motion as this one. It got up to 45. It closed at a flat 43, and it went over, which I felt quite easily. I'm going to need a sign from the books here. Omer says Packers win, and Jimmy on the money, take that under. Look, I can't, if it looks easy, I'm not going to bet it. And so why would they give us a total that's 15 points, 16 points over any of their last 3 home games in cold temperatures? I hear you, Omar. I hear you, but I'm going to need a sign. Remember, it's cold, but the field is heated and there's no wind. Dougie White says, does this line not beg for Bears money? Absolutely. It is begging for Bears money. So that is key. If this stays, we have a huge amount of tickets in cash on the Bears. Right now, according to Odds Logic, 79% of tickets, 62% of cash on the Chicago Bears. If this stays over the 6 or 6.5, well, then the first bet that must be made is, I think, the Packers double result. But again, I'm going to need to see it before I can hit it. But yes, it clearly does. Donut Silk says weather will not be a factor in my bet. I agree with you. I agree with you. Heated field, no wind. So I'm going to be very hesitant about that under. Why? It just doesn't make this should have. If this opened up at 43 and was sitting here at a 41.5, well, we'd all know what to do. We'd say, well, look at what's happening in these cold weather games. They're all going under. But when it opens up the look ahead and it's sitting here around 45.5, 44.5, it's just it's not appealing. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board here. 4:25 p.m. Eastern with the Los Angeles Rams 9-3, 4-2 on the road at the Arizona Cardinals 3-9, 1-5 at home. We're at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Let me just get back to week 14 and let's set this one up. We have a total of 48, opened up at 47.5, now at 48. Of course, you guys know, especially those of you who capped with me last year and even early in this year, that any NFC West game was an under, always. And that changed drastically this year. Now, it doesn't change when the very best defenses in the league, the Rams and the Seahawks, play against each other. But it changes with every other situation here. We have a side here. We have the look ahead, the Rams minus 9.5. That look ahead got bet down to 7, got bet down to, it didn't actually, I take that back. It closed at 9.5. It reemerged back at 9.5 and not immediately, but within about Within about 12 hours, it moved to 7.5. Now we're back at an 8. That's what it is. I'm looking at a 9, but it's plus 105 for the Rams. So if you want to look at it from that perspective, we've had a legitimate move towards the Arizona Cardinals. From a total standpoint here, we talked about that high 48. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for Rams Cardinals. We have this sitting right now with 78% of the tickets and 92% of the cash on the Rams, the expected bounce back performance, 60% of tickets on the under, and 59% of cash on the under. We'll start with the Rams. Number 1 passing offense in the NFL. Rushing offense ranked 11th. Red zone offense ranked 4th. They score touchdowns 66% of the time. Third down offense ranked 18th, converting just 38.9% of the time. But this is, even with the debacle in Carolina, the number 1 ranked pass defense and the number 1 ranked rush defense. The number 2 ranked red zone defense. They allow touchdowns just 41.7% of the time. Their third down defense ranked 8th. They allow conversions 36.4% of the time, and this pass rush is ranked 6th. Rams coming off that shock 31-28 loss at the Carolina Panthers. Noise canceled score was 26-25 Panthers. Stafford's MVP prospects took a turn for the worse. 18-28 for 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He also lost a fumble. Who was the leading receiver for the Rams? Xavier Smith led receivers with 3 catches, 82 yards. Puka Nacua caught 6 for 72. Devontae Adams caught 4 for 58. When I roll those numbers down, Blake Corum ran 7 times for 81 yards touchdown. Kyron Williams ran 13 times for 72 yards. When you talk about that, you think, well, how did they lose? How could they possibly lose with those statistics? They lost despite putting up 7.4 yards per play. They only had 5 third downs all game long. It's nuts. They converted 2 of them. The Rams lost a game. Imagine losing a game. Rams lost a game where they had 6 red zone opportunities and the opponent had 1. The number 1 ranked defense did look weak. Panthers went 7 of 15 on third down, perfect 3 of 3 in the red zone. Pass rush had 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits. And Sean McVay said Monday that Lake is going to come back, and that is huge. Now, he also said that when Lake comes back, and very crucial safety to the defense, that it probably won't be until the very last game of the regular season. And even in that one, they're only going to play him a short amount of snaps, but he will be ready to go for the playoffs. Let's talk about the Cardinals. Passing offense ranked 12th, rushing offense ranked 18th, red zone offense ranked 17th, third down offense ranked 7th. It's a pretty good offense here. Pass defense 16th, rush defense 27th, red zone defense 19th, third down defense ranked 15th, and the pass rush is 25th. It's a weak defense. Cardinals coming off their 4th straight loss, 2017 setback at the Buccaneers. Noise canceled score was 20-20. It felt like the Buccaneers were in complete control, but Cards outgained the Buccaneers 386-279. Jacoby Brissett was 29-40 for 301 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Kyler Murray will not return to practice this week. Trey McBride caught 8 passes for 82 yards and a touchdown. Marvin Harrison Jr. returned from his appendectomy surgery, 6 catches for 69 yards. Then he leaves the game with a heel injury. So he's listed as questionable go this week. Bam Knight ran 11 times for 62 yards, caught 3 for 36, touchdown, did lose a fumble. Cardinals averaged 6.3 yards per play, but we're just 3 of 10 on 3rd and 4th down. Perfect 2 for 2 in the red zone. The defense held the Buccaneers to just 4.9 yards per play, but allowed them to go 8 of 17 on 3rd and 4th down. The defense did hold them to 2 of 4 in the red zone. Sweat had 2 sacks and a quarterback hit. It was the only Cardinal hit on Mayfield all day. Nobody else is doing anything on the pass rush. Emery Demercado and Walter Nolan, running back and defensive lineman, respectively, were inactive and are listed as questionable here. Cheshire says regression for the Rams and overrated crap. Top said do not fade the Rams. It's too bad that the Rams didn't just go in and smash the Panthers so we could back the Cardinals at this price. The problem here is that the Rams are an angry group that didn't look good. Birdie says, I think you have to respect this move to the Cards given the liability on the Rams and now moving into Wong teaser range. Cards for me here. Books taking Rams money on spread, money line, and teasers. I want the Arizona Cardinals. Wager Texas Cardinals outright. I want the Cardinals, but I can't sell the Rams after losing at the Carolina Panthers. I can't do it. which then would take us to the over. And then I can't expect the number one ranked pass defense and rush defense to lay back-to-back eggs. It puts me in a situation where at this point I can't make a move. I will write down the Cardinals, but no asterisks and just question marks at this point. I think it's too many points. I think the Cardinals can stay within this number. I liked what the Cardinals did against Tampa. It looked like that game was over, and the Cardinals just kept gnawing at you and gnawing at you. Topset says, what would the line have been if they'd won the Panthers game? I think that's a great question. I would say this. If they beat the Panthers, I would say the line would be doing the exact same thing. I think it would open up at 9.5. It would probably close at 8. We would think that the home divisional dog over a touchdown would be able to stay within the game. I don't think it would change. I think the surprise is that in this clear bounce back spot for the Rams, that the line's moving to the Cardinals. I think that's a surprise because everybody would say, well, watch the Rams bounce back. And we're not seeing that. Let's just go back to this point spread one more time. So here's a book, a very sharp book that's moved it to a flat 8. Moved it to a flat 8. And it moved all the way down to a 7.5 multiple times over the last 24, 36 hours. How could it move to a 7.5? And when we go to our legal American books, as I said, Circa just sitting here with an 8. 3 a.m. Ghost says he loves the Rams, but not this number. Susie Easton says she believes in the Cards this week. Donut Silk says I could see the Cardinals getting on the board early, which leads me to liking the over. And Omar says Rams win, but 8 is about right, making it a tough call. The only interest I have really is in the Cardinals, and I just don't want to sell the Rams low. Now, if you're sitting there saying, look, Stafford is hurting, it's a very fair thing to say. They need the bye so badly to give Stafford a week off. When I made the futures on the Rams at the beginning of the year, the only negative thing anybody told me was that, Stafford's going to get hurt. Stafford's going to get hurt. That was it. And he's been healthy all year long. Dougie says maybe Cardinals first half. And Donut Silk says Cardinals first half is solid. Agreed. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. We have our Sunday nighter. This one is an absolute beauty. We have Houston Texans 7-5, 3-3 on the road at the Kansas City Chiefs, 6-6, 5-1 at home. We're at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. It's cold, 26 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 5-mile-per-hour winds. The Texans host the Cardinals next week. Let's get into the line history for the Sunday nighter. Join us on our live stream right here. The Chiefs right now, the look ahead was 5.5. It reemerged at 3.5 at minus 110. With Stroud's concussion, and I don't need to go into another monologue about his mom, but we weren't sure what the hell the kid was going to do, and he came in and he looked good. So it reemerged at 3.5, and then it's come down to a 3. It's not a real 3. The Chiefs minus 3 is minus 122. The Texans plus 3 is plus 102, so it's not real. More of a 3.5. Let's take a look at the total here in this one. This total is a 42. The look ahead was 42.5, and then it reemerged at 43. When I moved on those two totals last week that I pushed everybody to get on, this wasn't one of them. And when it reemerged at 43, I felt good. I thought, okay, I was right. Then it dropped all the way down to 41.5. It was 41.5 yesterday morning. It's come up a half point since then at 42. Not all books are hanging that 41.5. Some books 42, some books 41.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have 69% of the tickets and 89% of the cash on the Houston Texans. I think the reason why I was so interested in this total, how it would reemerge, was because obviously we've been cashing unders in Texans games. We cashed that first half and full game under very easily in their last game. And I knew it'd be a public under. Right now, 89% of the tickets and 92% of the cash are on the under. I find it absolutely riveting that this would reemerge at 43. Look at Circa. Circa has 89% of the tickets on the under, 92% cash on the under, and it's at 42. They had 86% tickets and 91% cash on the under, and they took it from 41.5 to 42.5. Brought it back to 42, brought it back to the opening line. So when they kind of offer up in cold weather a number that didn't make sense to me, I thought that everybody's going to be on this under, and all they're getting is cash and tickets on the under, and it's not moving. It's suspect. It's suspect. We have, every single, not one person here interested in the over, everybody wanting the under. And I get that. And again, when things are too easy for me, I get very uncomfortable. Let's break down these Houston Texans. Passing offense ranked 22nd, rushing offense ranked 19th, red zone offense ranked 31st. The Texans score touchdowns 43.6% of red zone opportunities. And that's not, Davis Mills' fault. He looked fine at times. Third down offense ranked 27th. They only convert 35.4% of the time. It's the defense that does the talking. Passing defense ranked 7th. Rush defense ranked 5th. Red zone defense ranked 18th. They do allow touchdowns 58.6% of the time. It's very, very interesting that the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs, two very, very good defenses, have very poor red zone statistics. It's wild. The third down defense here for the Texans is ranked 2nd, 33.8% of the time. They are allowing conversions. And sorry, I was looking at the third down defense for the Chiefs. The red zone defense is 7th. Sorry, I was looking. The third down defense for the Chiefs ranked 26th, not the red zone defense. My apologies. Let's talk about passing. Well, let's stay with the Texans here. Second ranked pass rush, second ranked third down defense, a very strong defense. Coming off their fourth straight win, 2016 at the Colts. Noise canceled score is 25-23 Texans. They outgained the Colts 364 to 281. Stroud returned from missing 3 games with a concussion, 22 of 35 for 276 yards, no touchdowns in a pick. Nico Collins led receivers with 5 catches for 98 yards. Woody Marks ran 19 times for 64 yards. The offense was just 6 of 15 on 3rd and 4th down and 2 of 5 in the red zone, but the defense was excellent once again. The first team this season to hold the NFL's highest scoring offense. The Colts under 20 points, held the Colts to 3 of 12 on 3rd and 4th down, 2 of 4 in the red zone. Pass rush finished with 1 sack and 5 quarterback hits. Safety Jalen Reed went to the locker room in the first half of that right forearm injury. He needs surgery. He broke a metal plate in his forearm. That hurts. Thankfully, Jalen Petrie is back for them because they don't have MJ Stewart either. Let's talk about the Chiefs here. 13th ranked passing offense, 10th ranked rushing offense, red zone offense, 62% of the time they score touchdowns. Third down offense, 9th. They convert 41% of the time. This is the 2nd ranked pass defense in the NFL, the 9th ranked rush defense, 7th ranked red zone defense. Their pass rush has been weak, and it's getting weaker every week. And, who do we blame for this? I mean, it's pretty simple watching this defense work. Chris Jones is not doing anything out there. 1 sack in his last 5 games. I mean, I've seen more clips of Chris Jones doing nothing than of him succeeding. Now, I know he can step it up in big games, but he's not looked good. Chiefs coming off extra rest and prep after their 3rd loss in 4 games. Tough 31-28 setback at the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Thursday. Noise canceled score was 30-30. Chiefs were outgained 457 to 362. And now at Bet 365, the Chiefs are plus 110 to make the playoffs, minus 140 to miss them. Mahomes was 23 of 34 for 261, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Rashee Rice led receivers with 8 catches for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt ran 14 times for 58 yards, caught a 21-yard pass, but the offense 5 of 13 on 3rd down. But they did go 3 of 3 on 4th down, 3 of 3 in the red zone. They went 3 of 3 in the red zone this week. Last week, they went 1 of 6 in the red zone. The defense struggled all night. They allowed the Cowboys to put up 7 yards per play, allowed the Cowboys to go 10 of 17 on 3rd down and 4th down, but did hold them to 2 of 4 in the red zone. 21st ranked pass rush finished with 0 sacks, but they did have 6 quarterback hits. I mean, Chris Jones has 3 sacks all year. Jalen Watson had a pick, And this is the new Chiefs defense. I mean, it's hard to believe. And I know that Spagnuolo is losing his mind. 5 pass interference penalties. Now, I know they're going up against CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, but one was declined. There was another defensive holding that gave Dallas a first down. Kansas City finished with 10 penalties for 119 yards. And they lost 2 offensive linemen to injuries after beginning the game already without Trey Smith, inactive with an ankle injury. Right tackle Juwan Taylor injured an elbow, and rookie left tackle, first-round pick Josh Simmons went out with a wrist injury. It's unclear what the extent of Taylor's injury is, but Simmons suffered a dislocated and fractured wrist and is out indefinitely. Trey Smith is listed as questionable this week. Safety Brian Cook injured an ankle in the first half, and we're told that he avoided a high ankle sprain. Shout out to my guy, Lucky Power, in the house. Dougie Wise says, I think the weak Texans offense will allow the Chiefs to stay and win this football game. Topset said this must win is over for Kansas City. They may get the offense going. Rand said Chiefs were due for a year like this. They won so many close games last year. Omar saying that the Bills, Ravens, and Chiefs are all pretenders. Donut Silk says, I thought the Chiefs would beat Denver. Took them 7 straight 3 and outs to beat Indy in overtime. Kicked around by Dallas. I think Houston might kick them in the mouth. You know, all I wanted was the over, and it just made no sense. Sorry, all I wanted was the under, and it just made no sense to me. It didn't make sense to me. And when it reemerged at 43, I think it, you know, all the money, all the unders. Now you can take public unders and cash on them, but you'll see the line move drastically. Even the fact that this went from 41.5 to 40 back up to 42, something's just not right here. Lucky Power says take the under 42.5. I have the defenses to show up. Nobody is saying over. Everybody's on the under. Why would Circa bring it back up to 42.5? Why would they just open up their arms to this spot with 26 Fahrenheit winds? It just doesn't make sense. All of these primetime games, not all of these, but a lot of these primetime games are going under. So the whole thing just doesn't make sense to me. It just seems too easy. It was one of the, you guys know I would have hit that look ahead total, and we crushed by 5 points. We crushed that Baltimore-Pittsburgh look ahead. Here, the Chiefs at -3. Do you want the Texans plus 3.5? Are the Chiefs going to wake up? I mean, the problem with selling the Chiefs here is that you're just selling them so low. The problem with buying the Texans is you're buying them with 4 straight wins. Now CJ Stroud is healthy and Nico Collins is back. Londo is on the under. So every single person here in the chat is on the under. And let me just tell you, I agree with you guys. I agreed with you from the first point. And every single other gambler agrees with you guys too. And those are just not bets that I want to make. We'll see how things change. We'll keep an eye on the market. But at this point, it's very fishy. 89% of tickets, 92% of cash on the under. Why would Circa move it from 41.5 to 42.5? All right. So that's the Sunday nighter. We're going to keep discussing this game throughout the week. And of course, we'll be hammering it on our live stream. Let's move on to the Monday nighter. Philadelphia Eagles at LA Chargers. This one is a beauty here. SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Chargers 5-2 at home. Eagles 4-2 on the road. Let's get into the line history for our Monday nighter. Join us right here on our live stream. We have this look ahead at -2 for the Eagles. Look at -2, moved to 2.5, closed. And that 2.5 was at -120. Then it reemerges at 2 and quickly moves to a 3. And it's pretty much a 3 now. I'm looking at a 2.5 at -120. If you like Chargers plus 2.5, it's plus 100. From a total standpoint here, we have a 40.5. See, this is what's supposed to happen in that Chiefs Texans game. The look ahead's 44.5. It drops a point to 43.5. It reemerges at 42.5, and it drops all the way down to 40 before it climbs the half point. Right? Isn't that what these other totals are supposed to do? Herbert's fine. I mean, he had the surgery done, but he says he's fine. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. So we have 60% of the tickets and 69% of the cash on the Chargers. The line's moving towards the Eagles. Maybe I'm a sucker for Eagles games, but I don't know how we don't move on the Eagles here in a buy low spot against the Chargers, where I find it pretty unclear how good they are. We know that the offensive line is decimated, and there are certain teams that can take advantage of that, and there's some teams that can't. At this point, we have 71% of tickets and 74% of cash on the over. That's according to Action Network, if we believe it. Philadelphia Eagles have the 5th ranked passing offense, the 25th ranked rushing offense, which is hard to believe with Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, and a strong offensive line. Speaking of the run blocking, let's just take a look at it right now on. How it just makes no sense. So Pro Football Focus, you have to think that this Eagles run block is terrible because how are they not delivering? How is Barkley running at half of what he did last year? They're ranked 12th. Their run block is ranked 12th. What the hell is going on with this 25th ranked rushing offense? This is the number 1 red zone offense in the NFL, 75.9%. Third down offense ranked 28th. They only convert 34.5% of the time. Passing defense ranked 19th. Rush defense ranked 19th. Who would have thought that the Eagles would be here? Brady says, I think this total is affected by Herbert's wrist injury. If Herbert looks like he's a go, the line comes back to the Chargers. Says Eagles are broken and this line is 2 points too high. He's a go. We've heard from both him and coach. He's a go. Now you want to see, he'll be on the Wednesday injury report tomorrow. Red zone defense is ranked 4th for the Eagles. Third down defense, 25th. Pass rush ranked 8th. Eagles come in off extra rest and prep after the ugly 24-15 home loss to the Bears. Noise canceled scores, 27-17 Bears. Eagles allowed 281 yards on the ground, and they got dominated in time of possession, 39-18 to 20-42. Now, the Chargers rushing offense has been ranked 1st for a long time. It's not ranked 2nd. But still, despite the injuries to the offensive line, despite the injuries to their top 2 running backs at least, and Kamani Vidal, Fun Belt running back, is still holding up his end of the bargain. They're running, and you'd think, we just saw how Ben Johnson beat the Eagles. Why wouldn't Harbaugh do the exact same thing? Jalen Hurts was 19 of 34 for 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. He also ran 4 times for 31 yards and lost a fumble. A.J. Brown caught 10 passes for 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley ran 13 times for 56 yards. They finished 4 of 12 on third down, 1 of 2 in the red zone. The offense averaged 6.2 yards per play, but they just didn't get enough opportunities. In the first half, they ran 17 plays, 83 total yards, just 26 rushing, and only had 2 first downs. The Bears had 142 yards rushing in the first half. The defense just couldn't stop the Bears' ground game. Bears went 10 of 17 on third down, 2 of 3 in the red zone. Pass rush finished with 2 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. Alex Hunt had an interception. So, Birdie says when he is listed as a go, the line comes back. Total will go up, and the line will come back to the Chargers. And he says again, Eagles are broken. The Eagles have problems. I don't know if I go as far as saying broken. Let's talk about the Chargers. Their passing offense ranked 8th, rushing offense 2nd. Red zone offense is 23rd. They score touchdowns is 51.2% of the time. Their third down offense is 2nd. They convert 48.3% of the time. Pass defense ranked 9th, rush defense 18th. Red zone defense 11th. Third down defense is 4th. They only allow conversions 34.8% of the time. Their pass rush ranked 19th. Chargers coming off an easy 31-14 victory at home over the Raiders. Noise canceled score. It was 29-15 Chargers. Chargers outgained the Raiders 30-41 to 156. Herbert was 15 of 20 for 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception, despite breaking a bone on his non-throwing hand on the first game of the series. He had surgery on Monday. It's an unspecified broken bone on the back of his left hand. He says that he's not going to miss any time down the stretch. This is a guy who's only missed 4 games in his career, all in that 2023 when he broke a finger on his left hand late in the season. 3 a.m. Ghost is on the Chargers money line here. Kimani Vidal ran 25 times for 126 yards, touchdowns, being a beast. McConkey led receivers with 4 catches for 39 yards and a touchdown. Despite the injury to Herbert, the Chargers were 12 of 17 on third down, 3 of 5 in the red zone. The defense completely shut the Raiders down, held the Raiders to just 3.4 yards per play, held them to 2 of 10 on third and fourth down, but did allow them to go 2 of 2 in the red zone. Pass rush was strong with 5 sacks, 9 quarterback hits, Tony Jefferson had an interception, and we may get Omarion Hampton back. I thought he might be back last week. He's not. He may be good to go this week. We have Lucky Power moving on the over, and everybody backing the Chargers. So I will be on the other side of this. I will be on the other side of this. I will wait for the Herbert to be announced in and good to go, which I fully expect. And I do not think that the Chargers, if the Eagles are an 8-4 team and the Chargers are an 8-4 team, I think the Eagles are better than Chargers. I think there's a buy low spot on the Eagles. I do not think that they're broken and their season's over and that they're done. In fact, if either of these teams were in that situation, I'd say the Chargers are the more likely team that's not going to be menacing down the stretch. So I will be on the other side. I will wait though. I will wait because I don't want to say I'm certain, but I really believe that. I mean, Herbert says he's going to be in. The coaching staff saying that it's going to be fine. He's going to be in. So I will wait if that means I'll get a better line. And then what I'll do is I will also probably, I guess the total is just too low to take a team total under for anybody. That's all I'll do. 3 a.m. Ghost. If this sentiment is the way it is against the Eagles, and I'd like to see what happens, when Herbert's announced in. And, this is a spot where, when there's cappers as sharp as Birdie saying that they're broken and, that they're chanting to fire Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator, and all that stuff. A lot happened in this last game. Let's talk about what happened good for the Eagles. Now, A.J. Brown caught 10 passes for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. You got to get him back. You got to get him going. Saquon Barkley, you got to get him back. You got to get him going. We had a football game where the Eagles were incapable of stopping the run. You could look at the statistical profile of the Chargers and say, well, they're going to have a real difficult time stopping Vidal. That would be fair. That would be a completely legitimate thing that I'll sit with. But all I want to do is buy low and sell high. And when you're buying low all the time, are you risking the possibility of backing a broken squad? Yes. But do I care that the Chargers destroyed the Raiders 31-14? Do I think that there's truth to the Chargers going to Jacksonville and getting demolished? I don't think there's real truth in them getting demolished at Jacksonville or them demolishing the Raiders. I mean, we have not seen now this. Let's go over what we've seen from the Chargers over the last little while, and then we'll put a bow on the proceedings. I have Troy Torrance's action. Troy and I will be talking throughout. Also, if you are in our Discord, you will know everything that's being bet from both Troy and myself. But let's just take a look at what we've seen from the Chargers of late. They look at this list of teams here. They get crushed by the Colts. Then they play Minnesota, and Minnesota, we know who they are now, right? Do we care that they destroyed Minnesota at home? They went to Tennessee and won by 7 points. What are we seeing other teams do to Tennessee? They played Pittsburgh at home, and it was the sell Pittsburgh high of our wildest dreams. They just beaten the Colts. Now look at who the Colts are. Now do we care as much what Pittsburgh did to the Colts? They beat up Pittsburgh 25-10. They head into Jacksonville. They lose 35-6. They beat the Raiders 31-14. So look at this. If you take the Colts out of the mix, okay, let's take the Colts out. This is who the Chargers have played. The Giants, the Dolphins, the Vikings, the Titans, the Steelers, the Jaguars, and the Raiders. That's a who's who of the worst teams in the NFL. I'm going to be on the Eagles for sure. And if and I think Birdie's right, if the idea is that some people think that maybe Herbert's not in, I do very much. I'm very certain that he's going to be in. Then I'll wait. I'll wait for Herbert to be announced in, get a couple practices under his belt. I am going to be on the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football on our live stream right here. Right here. Okay, let's get this. Just want to have this note here. Not that I'll forget, but all right, let's take a quick review of all action here for us on a giant Week 14 slate. We're coming off a battle, 15 and 12 plus 1.38 units for me, 18 and 16 plus 0.47 units for Troy. Let's roll here. Luke Burrow, just because Herbert says I'm not going to miss any time, I'm fine. The back of my left hand will protect it. Aaron Rodgers didn't say, "Oh, look, it's my non-throwing wrist and I'm fine." We'll see. I mean, in Luke Burrow, I'm not certain. No, Rodgers didn't say I'll be there next week like Herbert said. Herbert said I'll be there next week. So, but I think I'll wait because that's what I believe. And of course, you can't be certain. Of course, I'm not going to be certain here. So let's review all action here for this big slate. The Thursday nighter, Cowboys, Lions. I want the Lions. As soon as it's 2.5, I'm going to pounce. And maybe more than that. And yes, it's a big risk buying a team low and selling a team high. I get it. I get it. Let's move on to Sunday's action. Troy's on the Falcons plus 7.5 at minus 115. A wildly exciting bet. I'm going to be keeping an eye on it for sure. It's very exciting. And look, I don't know how you don't bet the Bengals here at this number. I think that probably have to pull the trigger on it. It makes me uncomfortable because it's such a big number, but I just don't. So I think the Bengals are a must bet. I mean, how could this close at 6.5? If it closes at 6.5, you're going to lose. If it closes at 4.5, you're going to cash it. Troy is on a Browns-Rams moneyline parlay. I've not moved on Titans-Browns at this point. I'm very uncomfortable with the injuries to Conklin and to Wyatt Teller. That might keep me off the Browns, honestly. Troy's on the Vikings money line. I'm going to bet them as soon as we're done here. And I may move on that first half under on Dolphins Jets. I now realize that betting a week in advance on these totals and when I murk them, it's going to be harder to add the half. It's going to be harder to add that first half. Troy's on the Saints plus 9. See, I can't comprehend. Now, I'm higher on the Saints than others, and I just cashed on them. Yeah, Jake, we did a 15 or 20 minute rundown on the Vikings game. So just go back and check it out. Check it out. Troy was here. We did a big long rundown and we're both on the Vikings. But check it out, my man. We have Troy on the Colts money line at the Jaguars. I'm excited about his look. I want to sit with it for longer, see what happens with the market. Then I pushed all of you guys. I said it over and over and over again, like a drunken buffoon, to get you guys on the under 47.5 in Pittsburgh, Baltimore. It's now under 42.5. 5 points. Now I'm interested in the Ravens double result. That 6 is such a crucial number. It's the most important angle, I think, in football now. The ROI on the dogs that go through the 6 is insane. It's insane. So I do want to see what happens with this line because we have a few of those at 6. What happened last week? Remember, I told you guys I was on the Commanders and the Saints because it went through the 6. And then we have Broncos, Raiders, no action for us at this point. Then Bears, Packers. Here, Bears, Packers. I got to sit with this under for longer, and I expect to be on the Packers double result. Again, a lot of these moves will be made tonight, but if we're hanging around the 6 number, I do want to just let the market do its thing, you know? And I'm very interested in how much the Devontae Wyatt injury affects the Packers. The Cardinals, Rams, it's too bad that the Rams are coming off of this horrific game because I would have wanted to be on the Cardinals. I don't know if I can do it now. The Texans, Chiefs under. Look, I'm right with you guys. A lot of people who are close to me know that the first thing that changed my capping around was when I put a line through the first spot on the board that I wanted because my gut is a losing capper. Cheshire says under 40 in the Pittsburgh-Baltimore game, so the 47.5 that we all got, a lot of us got, is feeling good. So, that, of course, I want the Texans-Chiefs under. Something just doesn't add up with that number. And here on our final spot on the board, I'm going to be on the Eagles. And it's one of those things, is it optional misery when you host a live stream and you're on the team that people are saying is broken? Possibly. But Eagles against the Chargers, when I can sell the Chargers high and buy the Eagles low, I have to hammer. Lucky Power, birthday coming up on Sunday. And he's a Bears fan. Bears double result. Have a great, great birthday, Lucky Power. Have a great, great birthday. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us. Thank you to my co-host, Troy Torrence. Sometimes being a father gets in the way, and it's part of life, and we respect it. He's a great dad. Tatum's a great boy. So love to the Torrance family. Thank you to all the cappers in the chat supporting us here. Means a ton. Londo, Lucky Power, Susie Easton, Cheshire, Harold Williams, Wager Detective, Omer Gaudette, Jared T.G., Luke Burrow, Birdie, Slatsy, Spenny Penny Bombs, Dougie Wise, Londo, all you guys, thank you so much. Rants, Mark Stasowski, Donut Silks, Top Set, thank you guys. 3 a.m., Aaron Gaza, Vincent Hawkins, thank you guys so much. Thank you for the support here. Respect and love to all of you guys. And it's time to go get that cash. King BC, Man Bear Pig, all you guys. A big thank you to Jose Bouquet behind the scenes. He works tirelessly. I will see you guys in 12 hours and 32 minutes for Betting with the Bag. I can tell you, of those 12 hours and 32 minutes, I will be capping for 8 of them, at least 7.5 of them. And I will not wake up tired. I'm going to wake up this fucking money, man. Get this fucking money, man. Thank you guys for rocking, man. Let's go get it. On behalf of all of us at Pub Sports Radio, thank you for your support. Let's go out there and murk these bookies. Let's milk them. Leche. Hey, los bookmakers, milk that shit.